On this episode of the Star Wars Time Show, Matt and Nick are back with another session of Andor School, which will feature their review and breakdown of Episode 9, Nobody's Listening. This week, Andor School will extend into a preview of its second season, courtesy of Lord Gilroy, and some new quotes of his on the show's final season. The homies will stick to Star Wars TV by diving into some official The Acolyte news and a few bits on The Mandalorian Season 3. Of course, the show will end with the Question of the Week responses and the latest round of Top 5 Star Wars Fan Artist Features. Punch it, Chewie!
And just like that, it's time for a Hey Now, everybody. We see you in the live stream crowd getting impatient. That's how we like it. You know, when we start late, it builds that anticipation and or scares most people away because they're like, hey, these assholes are never on time. Their technology sucks. Their mics blow. And in general, they're really not that entertaining. But we are here 6 minutes late, but we never have an official start time. All you need to know about the Star Wars Time Show, Tuesday afternoons, sometime around 2:30 p. East. We're going to be live talking Star Wars and all sorts of pop culture. YouTube.com/Star Wars Time Show. And yes, Nick, we have now confirmed our handle as Star Wars Time Show on YouTube.
Confirmed.
Funny thing is, I actually tried to just put in Star Wars Time. Some fuckers got it, so we couldn't.
Somebody had it.
Yeah, we couldn't even use that one anyway. So
that's great. I wonder if I tried it because I set up the initial like YouTube.com/Star Wars Time Show. I wonder if I tried Star Wars Time and it was gone at that point.
Yeah, it's probably for that asshole that is squatting on StarWarsTime.com. Yeah. Where at one point in time, it was like a fan page for, I think, but I think it was for like Kodiak Chew or Grizzly, or Grizzly. Like it's just like a fan page for Dip. But hey, we're here, we're ready. We got some Andor to talk. Not going to do a 3-hour show today. I've got some real life to attend to, so we got to keep things somewhat on task, which means Matt, don't fuck things up. You know, I can always rely on Nick for being short and to the point. I'm the one that usually likes to take trips around the globe to make a point. So I got to do better at being me today. But hey, who knows? We're going to have some fun. We got Andor Episode 9. Nobody's listening, Kino! To break down and review. We've got some official news for the Acolyte finally, which is pretty dope. We got a synopsis. The cast list has been finalized. Some new names and faces popped up that I want to talk about with Nick. We got some Mandalorian Season 3 themes to kind of be aware of. And one site is reporting some interesting things that may happen with Moff Gideon's kit. Talking his armor and Mando S3. So we got an action-packed Star Wars-filled day for you. And sorry if the video is lagging. Who the hell knows what's going on? But I am transmitting at upwards of 8,000 kilobits per second, which should be plenty. So who the hell knows what's going on anymore? You're just going to have to deal with it. This makes no sense, Nick. I mean, literally, it's like, here's the beauty of YouTube and why I'm not going to take blame for this. Here's the warning I'm getting in the dashboard. The stream's current bit rate of 5,011.98 kbps is lower than the recommended bit rate. But here's the kicker.
Wow.
Here is the kicker. We recommend that you use a stream bit rate of 4,500 kbps.
That's what I knew it was.
Like,
I knew it was lower than 5,000
Hey, Google.
kbps. No way.
Get your head out of your ass. Like, what is it? We are sending data over your minimum requirement.
Amen.
Okay? So don't blame it on me. Blame it on Google. It makes no sense. I can tell you right now, I'm in the green. All signs ready to go. You may fire when ready. All right, Nick. So real quick, we promised the people, and I don't like to go back on my promises, that we do a little pop culture talk specifically about the Peripheral, new series on Amazon Prime that is kind of, as I teased last week, helped fill the void of Rings of Power dropping out, House of the Dragon, all that stuff we had in the early part of the fall is now gone. We're just left with Andor. But luckily, we got this show, The Peripheral, starring Chloe Grace Moretz, Jack Rayner, on Amazon Prime. And you have now consumed the first 3 episodes. There are 4 out.
First 3, yes.
But you got the first 3 in.
I failed my homework. Matt gave me homework to watch all 4. We only watched 3.
It's all right, because like I told Nick, if it weren't for my nice amounts of downtime on the weekends, I would have failed too, because it took me 3 viewings to get through the Peripheral episode 4. And that is not a knock on the show. That's a knock on this old guy here who, if he tries to watch stuff at night that you need to be paying attention to, his brain turns off and says, no thanks, let's try again tomorrow. So it took me 3 viewings to get through Peripheral E4, but it had nothing to do with the show, the plot, none of that stuff. So real quick, dude, what do you think about the Peripheral? And as Justin's saying in here, SW Props, it is from the creators of Westworld, where just last week we were pontificating, is Westworld coming back for a final season? And the answer has been made, and it is official. No. HBO said, no, thank you. No, thank you, Nolan's brother. No more. But they have this show for us. So, Nick, I mean, you didn't see it last week, so go ahead. What's your quick take on the first 3 episodes? Is this something worth getting into? Is it as hard as a woodpecker's beak, as the intern described it?
I'm not as high on it as Ryan is, a.k.a. the intern. So I enjoy it. I think it's a good show. Here's what I told Taylor, and this is a very personal thing to me. The Southern accent is like listening to nails on a chalkboard.
I'm with you, dude. I've said this on this podcast. Like, I don't know how you made it out of the Deep South not sounding like you didn't pass 3rd grade.
Yeah. And it was one of those things too, where it's like, I watched the first 2 episodes and the themes were good and the action was good. And I was like, man, the show itself, it has a future dystopian feel and all this other things that I would I truly enjoy.
Time
and I'm
travel.
Yeah, lots of cool shit. And I'm like, why don't I like this as much as I probably should? And I sat down and I thought about it. And while we were watching episode 3, I was like, I know why I don't like it. It's these fucking Southern accents that are just when I listen to that, it just in my brain, it's makes me cringe a little bit.
I'm glad you're saying that, because you're usually not an awful person like me, but we definitely share this pet peeve. And I know, hey, listen, if you're in the South, you're probably like, oh, you Northern elite idiot. Okay.
I'm from deep southeastern Louisiana.
Nick literally should talk like, hey, I'm going to watch right now. Go watch episode 9 and shit. Go shit. I mean, that's what he should sound like.
I have family members that talk like that. And have talked like that my entire life. So it shouldn't bother me.
Yeah.
But
I get it.
It's just one of those things that the show itself and the themes and the writing and everything is strong, but that is the one thing that
and dude, the best part is
really liking it.
They're just in North Carolina, so they don't even have the thick Alabama or Mississippi dialect where it's like, okay, dude, have you fucked your sister or a goat today? You know what I mean? I mean that's what we're talking about. And yes, I'm making general observations about the South, but Nick has a point. I don't care. I mean, someone from the South with a thick accent, they could have a doctorate. They could have graduated, umma cum laude. The moment they talk, you question if they have any intelligence. I'm sorry. It's just how it goes. It's
just one of those things, man, where and it's I don't have any less respect for people that have Southern accents or anything
hard
like
to process.
Yeah, it is. It's just one of those things that in my head, I hear it and it's just it doesn't, it just annoys me a little bit. It just
it's
gives
funny
me
though?
A little bit of a cringe thing. Yeah.
Around the world, Nick, most countries think Americans sound like the South. We all sound like that to at least people in England. We all sound like we've got a fucking foot in our mouth, or we're chewing on some cud or something. So All right. So, you digging it, but the accent's a bit too much. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I wish that like when she would be like when she was in her stub or like when she is like in 2090 that she dropped it. Like I wish that was kind of a thing where it's like
the peripheral, like the bot actually just has an English proper English accent. Yeah,
there's just no accent at all. Just like very anything but the goddamn Southern accent.
I just grew another head. So yes, the little lady is here. This is my second head. I was eating nuclear waste over the weekend and sprouted a head out of my right shoulder. So welcome, new head. You want to say hello to the world here?
Hello.
Hello.
All right, buddy. Good to see you. Welcome back. Mm-hmm. May the force be with us. All right. Just got to get our iPad to do some homework like a good little lady. You know what I mean?
Nice.
Keep kicking butt. All right. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, the accents definitely didn't affect me, even though I just kind of went on a diatribe about how the Southern accent kind of disgusts me. But yeah, that didn't affect me. What affected me is just, like I said, having an old man's brain and body and having a few pops on the weekend. Not good for watching a show like this late at night. So you gotta, this is a show, as Nick set up, some time travel. These stubs are alternate timelines. You're going here, you're going there. So you got to be paying attention. But I'm sticking with it. I dig the show. It does, as I was telling Nick earlier, you get enough answers in episode 4 that it's a series where you're not feeling like, okay, is this going anywhere? Are they ever going to explain what the fuck's going on? I feel like episode 4, they kind of come in towards the end and start peeling a few layers back where you go, oh, okay, I can kind of start to speculate where things are going to go. And I'm still excited. So if you have been looking for a replacement for some of the excellent TV that's dropped off your schedule, I'm still a fan of the Peripheral and look forward to it every week. We got episode 5 dropping, I think, this Friday. So
definitely agree. Y'all
good
should
stuff on there. Sure. And real quick on gaming, you gonna fuck with Ragnarok, or are you so far from modern games like me, you didn't even know it released this week?
I did know it released, but I haven't even finished the first one. I haven't finished like the proper God of War from 2018.
Okay,
I did start it. And I'm not very far into it. I'm probably only 5 hours in or something like that.
Yeah, you got some time.
So I got a lot of playing left. So I am not going to get it, and more than likely by the time I actually pick it up, it'll be on sale.
Yeah. So did you ever finish Horizon whatever the fuck it is 2?
I didn't even buy Horizon 2.
Oh, you started going through the first one, but I'm assuming you tapped out of that, right?
Yeah, and then I tapped out, and I was like, I'll just skip it and play the second one whenever I want to.
And I haven't even done that, man. I was like, I've realized this year above all years. I mean, I have a dedicated gaming time on the weekend, worked it out with the boss. It's there. I have it if I want to use it. And I still find myself just going, don't really care. Not like I used to. I mean, I used to be so in the know with gaming. I made a site for myself so I could get into the gaming media and get free stuff and go to events. And B, I would say my excitement for games was no different than my excitement for Star Wars. And after 10 years working in the media, it sucked all of that joy. Just sucked it all out. And then, I had a kid that kind of added to the problem. But these days, I sadly, I think I have to classify myself as a casual gamer. I am playing Modern Warfare 2 and I am digging it. I haven't played COD in a few years and nothing's changed. Okay. So I'm not like saying it's some crazy ass, like, oh my God, this COD is the COD. But they do like Tom Clancy-esque stories pretty well. And the shooter controls are always good. And I love shooters, and it's been a while since I've just played like I said, just a traditional COD. So that's been nice to get back to. But even still, I mean, I get a new COD, I'd pop it in the minute I get it. I try to beat it on normal and go through it on veteran. I mean, it would be like a daily thing. Now it's like, oh yeah, I'll play it for an hour on Saturday, and then that may be it for the week, and I'm okay with that because I always got my phone crack. I'm still going strong on Swago. That game Haven't quit it yet. What is it now? I'll be going on 7 years with that game.
You've been playing that for a long
7
long
years this month. I think it dropped November 2015. So
insane.
Live long and prosperous will go.
The only difference to me is like for me, like I play stuff every now and then, like, but I'll play like live service games. Like I just started playing Hearthstone again because Blizzard gave me 80 free card packs for Hearthstone, and the reason that I stopped playing it is because like it's a pay to win game. Like you have to buy these card packs to get the cards to play the sets and all this shit. So they gave me 80 free ones, and I was like, okay, I'll play a little bit. But mostly what I've been playing now is like on my Steam Deck, you know, like I've been playing that Scarlet Nexus game on Steam Deck that I'm like pretty far into. I'm 20 hours into that game. And then I'll play like a little bit of Hearthstone or some other like, you know, small games on Steam Deck. But yeah, that's what I've been up to. So my gaming time has definitely become casual as well.
Oh yeah, I need to dust off the Steam Deck. I've let that poor bastard rest for a little bit. I mean, I think since mid-October I haven't touched it, but I knew that was coming. I was surprised with myself over the summer. I used it more than I thought, but it now too has gone by the wayside. So yay me! I like spending money and wasting it. I wish I should show you. I mean, you collectors out there right now would probably vomit if I showed you how many unopened Black Series I have from probably the past 4 months that I don't know if I even want to open them. I may throw them up on eBay. I mean, I just got the Jon Favreau Heavy Mandalorian figure. I'm like, who cares? Got a lot of the Kenobi shit. Got the holiday special Boba Fett Black Series. I'm just like, I don't care. I don't really care about the Black Series anymore. So I think I've officially killed that, thankfully. But Hot Toys still alive and strong. All right, dude. Let's go ahead and get into some Star Wars time. Why not? It's the name of the show. We might as well talk about it. And these days, we love talking Andor. Even though I'm starting to see more and more. I mean, honestly, Nick, the one thing, I know you don't go on socials, but I think the one thing, at least from my perspective with Andor, is I think the crazies are so turned off on it that they've just quit. So you don't even get inundated with Andor's so slow, I hate it, I'd rather watch paint dry, you know, shit like that.
Yeah.
But I think it also affects just general interest. You know, views on the breakdowns are down. It just doesn't seem like the Star Wars fan base, the one that we know, the one that goes gaga for all things Star Wars, has really embraced this series like it would a Kenobi, a Mando, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And not that I care. I really don't give a shit anymore.
I think that probably why a lot of those people have fallen off is it is starting to just kind of turn into a generic spy show. I'll put it that way. And I'm not trying to like dismiss it or down talk the show, because the show itself is very well written. The show does a really good job of like character exploration and like, you know, diving into some of these characters' histories and giving you context into the decisions that they make and stuff like that. But at a certain point, I did just kind of come to the realization to where like it has like Star Wars set dressing in like not even in every place. Like sometimes it has Star Wars set dressing, but more often than not, like it just does kind of feel like a generic thriller spy TV show, and you're missing the Star Wars angle to it a bit. But hey, I mean, that's kind of what Tony was going for. Like that's, you know, that was kind of his pitch.
I mean, and I think that's why I've been down with it. It has delivered exactly what the creators were selling. I mean, he told us from the get-go, like, listen, this ain't your fucking mom and dad Star Wars, people. This ain't for little, you know, Bobby Joe and Lucy Lou. This is the grit. This is getting down, as Andy Serkis, I think, said or quoted this week. We're getting into the grit of the oyster type of stuff in Star Wars storytelling with Andor. And it clearly isn't for everyone, but it's still for me. and that's all I care about. So, Nick, let's go ahead and get into our full-on breakdown, as we do on the SWTS, of Andor S1E9. Nobody's listening. So, go ahead. What say you about thine episode?
Yeah, I thought it was a decent middle part. Really dived into the prison situation. We also got some more info on Vel. Overall, I thought it was a good episode. Was it one of my favorites? No. Usually the middle ones are, kind of like a tension building episode, and then you get your payoff in the next, and that's the same that we're seeing here. I did mention to Matt that I kind of had two issues with two of the B plots that, like, in the direction that they ended up going, specifically with Cyril and with Mon Mothma and Tay Kolma. Not a fan of how they treated those, honestly. The Cyril angle of him being just like a weird incel just kind of sucks. Like, I'm not going to lie.
You don't like creepy Cyril?
It just doesn't make any sense. Like, in my opinion, like, you had an opportunity to make that character something more interesting, and maybe you still will, because there's still time left in this season. But to, like, turn him into, like, some creepy incel that all of a sudden, like for his entire fucking arc for this show, he's been super dedicated to, like, finding out this issue, like, Andor, Cassian Andor, he's a bad guy. We have to do something about him. And then all of a sudden, like, he's just this creepy incel that wants to follow Miro around. Like,
see, I still feel like, yes, I definitely got, I think he has some feeling for her. There's no doubt about that. Or at least that's how the scene was shot. But I still think, and while it's creepy, I think ultimately in his head, he still feels like Miro and we're the only ones that get it. I need her so I can prove to everyone that I'm not a dummy. More than I want to get hot and heavy with this girl. I still got, like, some of his creepiness, and the stalking stems from that burning desire to clear his name and track down Andor. But it sounds like you took it completely the other way. He's just being a fucking creep.
We'll see.
Like, come here, little girl. You want to see what's under my coat type of deal.
Like, because, like, the thing is like, that whole scene, like, to me, that whole scene, like, they should have just skipped it. There was no plot furthering there. There was no character development there, other than the character development of something that I didn't like. But hey, that's just, you're not making the show for me to like. You're making the show the way that Tony wants it. But to me, like, I guess it could still, and that's why I said, like, we'll see how it plays out over the rest of the season. But, like, the incel, like, creepy hanger-on stalker angle is just it doesn't.
Oh, dude, wait till you see the love video someone created for him. It's perfect. I think I threw it in our Discord, which, if you want to join, we got a link in our Instagram at Star Wars Time Show. Check it out. But yeah, so people are already shipping Cyril and Deidre, and I actually had a name for them, and I forget it. I did a hashtag because I actually thought it was pretty clever. Clearly not clever enough to go viral.
To remember. But yeah, like, so I didn't like that. But we'll see how that progresses. In the Tay Kolma and Mon Mothma angle, to where it just turns into, like, oh, well, you're looking at my bank account, right? Like, how can I make my bank account look cool, or, like, look copacetic? Like, to me, that was just, like, super anticlimactic and boring. But
I think where they're going there, it's like she's got this 400,000 credits she needs to make up, or she's dinged.
Yeah,
and
but, like, I don't give a fuck about her 400,000 credits missing out of her bank account, because that's not interesting. Maybe it will turn into.
I think the whole deal is, if they don't cover it up, then Mon's ploy of being a rebel is not going to last too long, because that's going to get flagged and be like, well, where the fuck's the money? What are you doing with it? And bam, she's taken off the map right off the start. And I think it was to also show that Mon is going to have to start dealing with shady people in this. Who the fuck was that? Davos Skulkin or Skuldoon?
Some random
who
dude.
Clearly sounds like a shady motherfucker that she would never want to deal with, but because of the situation she's in, she's going to have to go with it. So I don't know. That's how I took it. So, all right. So
those two B plots, not a huge fan of. We'll see where they progress for the rest of the season. But yeah, I mean, overall the episode was okay. Like, it was okay to me.
Yeah. So I too like listen. Last week I said this the episode 8 lacked tension. I felt like that carried a bit over into episode 9. I still wasn't sitting there going like, oh shit, what's gonna happen? You can kind of see where things are going, and not that that's a horrible thing. It's just a different feeling that I've had with the first 7 episodes. So I still feel like that lack of just edge of your seat tension was still missing a bit from 9. It was up there from 8, but not at the level that I had kind of experienced with the previous 7 episodes. It lacked key moments for me. I mean, I think I only marked down 4, which usually means, there's a lot of exposition without like, oh shit, they said that, or they did this, or this is going there type of stuff. In terms of, there was something you brought up that I wanted to talk about that I just forgot because I'm a douchebag. Mm-hmm. What was the first point you didn't like? Oh, creepy Cyril, right?
Cyril, yeah, Cyril.
I already talked about that, I think, so. You know what I like the most, and I really picked up on this on my second rewatch, where I didn't have to take notes and all this stuff, is, I mean, this episode, without a doubt, shows that Cassian Andor is, he knows how to motivate people to do something. I mean, we come to this episode, and we saw it in episode 8. After his 30 days, he was working much better with the team. He kind of got with the program. We come into this episode, and he's kind of the de facto leader of his table at this point. I mean, you can see that they look to him. He makes calls to make sure that they're making their parts quicker. He's organized with other tables to go in there and start sawing at that electrical conduit or steam pipe, something in the bathroom. He's talking with that black guy about, okay, look, watch, they're going to do this. And then, oh yeah, the elevator. So it's like, you can really see, I think for the first time, the Cassian that we meet in Rogue One. He's starting to get there. He is, maybe without him even knowing it, he is starting to motivate people to rebel. And that's who he becomes. He becomes one of the biggest motivators to get people to do essentially suicide missions with, like, sign me up. Yes, Cassian, we're going to die. I want to go. And I really felt that in this episode, in the way he was interacting with his cellmates, his table mates, unit mates, and really him and Kino, and how their dynamic changed throughout the episode, where Kino was like, fuck you, I'm a short timer, keep your head down, shut up, let's just get out of here. But by the end, when Kino realizes what everyone else has been trying to tell him, that they're all fucked, and nobody gets
in
case anyone missed what happened there at the end, they messed up. That prison messed up. They released someone on one level, but brought him back into another level. They found out, and that's why they had to fry everyone. So the cat's out of the bag now in this prison system, that you are done. Once you're in here, you never leave till you die. And that finally got Kino going. So I really enjoyed the prison sequences probably the most. The other stuff, to me, there were some interesting things we'll talk about in our top moments. But as Nick said, it was more just, okay, yeah, spy stuff, thriller stuff, drama here, drama there, setting more things in motion to eventually knock those dominoes over. So still quality writing. Expert acting. I mean, I think Andy Serkis deserves an Emmy nod for a supporting character or guest star. I don't even know if that's a category, but he's been phenomenal as Kino Loy. I mean, I just love that man. Him and Diego together are great. And really, like I said, the prison stuff stood out to me. So I think it did what it needed to do to make episode 10, which should be a banger of an episode. I mean, we're clearly going to get some action in 10. I would think they get out, and by they, probably just Melshi and Cassian, at the expense of their unit mates. That's what happens in a rebellion. You know what I mean? Just like Vel is telling her cousin Mon, which interesting. Listen,
yeah, that's another.
You know, we made our choice: rebellion first, then we can be rich girls after that. So yeah, it was good. Still a huge fan of the series. I dig the different tone and direction from the other series, and I'm okay with this type of Star Wars. It is very heady. It's just sit down and listen versus sit down and keep your eyes open and look for flashy lights.
Yeah.
All right. So let's go ahead and get into this episode's top 4 moments, at least the ones I counted down. Starting with the opening interrogation of Bix. And Nick, what I think what I appreciate most about this episode, besides the performances of the female actors here, I thought, what's her name, Adriana, she was fantastic. Denise as Dedra is fantastic. Really, what stood out to me in this scene is just kind of how awful Miro is. I mean, I think she has been one of the best written characters so far, in that at the beginning of the series, she was written in a way and her scenes were delivered in a way to make fans empathize with her, to almost feel bad for her, you know, like, shut up, you girl, shut up, rookie, you don't know shit, even though we as fans knew that she was making the correct assumptions, and if they would have listened to her, they probably could have prevented Aldhani, right?
Yeah.
But now, like most people, once they get more power, we can see that she's just like all the other scumbag Imperials. She's just as fascisty as the rest. And and it proves that it doesn't matter what sex you are. If you're the type of person that gets intoxicated by ultimate power and authoritarian rule, or however you would say that if you were smart, it can corrupt anyone. And I mean, she is just a horrible person. I mean, she essentially tortured Bix for fun, because Bix is like, listen, I could tell you everything right now, but you're still not going to believe me, right? And she said, yeah. So let's fry your brain with the screams of dying children of a species the Empire genocided. Like, I love getting those types of insights into how awful the Empire was. You don't get this granular level explanation of how terrible the Empire is in pretty much anything else. I mean, outside of seeing them blow up a planet, which is pretty fucking terrible, but just hearing all these little things. I mean, what's his name? Dr. Gorst. Who else can't wait for that guy to fucking die? I mean, he just...
yeah, like just the... man, like I was... The whole time when he was describing stuff, I'm like, I wonder if they're actually going to play the sound for us to hear.
I know.
But they didn't. And I was like, I'm kind of like, I was of two minds. I was like, it would have been cool if they would have like let us hear a snippet of it, but like not knowing what it was and just seeing how it affected her was pretty insane as well. So
yeah, and it's like Props is saying here in the live stream chat, Adria's acting is what sold it to us as viewers. Like, that's bad.
Yeah.
Whatever the fuck she's listening to is bad. I mean, just when she puts it on and it's, I love how they chose, like you said, just complete silence for a little bit. Then eventually she's just like, like fucking getting her brains liquefied. And then when we pick up after that, her acting, just her physical acting, where, you know, her face looks droopy. I mean, this poor girl looks like she had a stroke on set for her performance. That's good stuff. I mean, it was
pretty insane.
Yeah, I mean, really, all the interrogation stuff, while it didn't really go anywhere or tell us anything we didn't know as fans, because we kind of know behind the scenes, it was just great acting, great writing, but it really showcased these two characters in different lights. You had the evil female drunk with power now, and then you had the rebellious one doing everything she could to protect the rebel movement and, you know, her buddy. So good stuff there in that opening sequence.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, Nick, before the show started, I was like, hey, Mon, I'm Team Mon. I want to see more. And we finally got a fleshed out Senate chamber scene, and one that I think we were expecting to see, where you can really start to see the Senate just fucking quitting at this point.
Yeah, they're just
I mean,
no interest at all.
Yeah,
anymore.
you had to love this. I mean, poor Mon is out there giving a passionate speech about how we're losing our freedoms and you know, this sacred body of ours, the Senate. We are the protectors of this. How can we just keep pissing away our rights and making the Empire vis-a-vis Palpatine essentially a god? I mean, at this point with the PROD, he has essentially seized full control over the galaxy. And what the scene I think did for me is this was the end of the Senate ever being a functioning government body ever again under Palpatine. Even though you could probably say that happened on Empire Day. But this to me was like when everyone, for the most part, just finally were like, you know what, fuck it. We're going full on dictatorship. Who cares? Turn off our pod lights. Shut this bitch up. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I mean, it's like, I don't know if it's like the way that this was positioned, like is, I can't tell if like Mon is the only senator that's like holding on to this idea that she can still make a difference.
There were a few. There were a few chiming in like, "Let her speak!" Yay! But there were more people going, "Boo! Fuck you!" and basically turning their lights off in protest.
Exactly. So like, I'm trying to figure out like, is it that like Palpatine just got to these like to some of these other senators or most of these other senators already, or like in terms of like financial stuff, like has he been, or you know, the Empire been like patting their pockets a little bit to just say like, hey, let us do what we're gonna do and then you'll be fine, or if it literally is just like all of these other senators just think that the Empire's just doing a great job.
Well, dude, like, I mean, I always hate tying things back to modern politics, but I mean, just look at our situation here. We had in my opinion, a corrupt leader, but look at what the party has done. They've all fallen in line, and he ain't paying anybody. It really is like for some people, the allure of complete and absolute power is enough to compromise any moral value they may pretend to have or have had in the past. And I don't think it's any different in Star Wars. I mean, this dates back to even the fall of the Republic, as we saw through Tales of the Jedi. There were always corrupt senators taking more for them than their own people. So it's not surprising that now when you have an emperor essentially taking everything, but still giving them their power over their people, they're like, why the fuck would I want to rock this boat? This is even better now than the Republic because I don't have to deal with the righteous Jedi or these other fucking senators. I've got the man behind me doing way worse shit than me, so it's all good to go. So I think that's what it is. It's just like, hey, more power for me, less headache. Fuck it. Why make a stand? Because look what happens if you make a stand. That's what they're thinking. Like, do I want to be Mon Mothma sitting there putting a target on my fucking head by speaking against this empire that has now issued the new PROD and is locking people up for life? Fuck no. You know, I mean, a lot of us, you know, I'm a doomsdayer, but a lot of us at some point in time, and it's wild to even think this because I thought I'd be half dead before I would have to think this. But a lot of us at some point in time may have to make a stand in life and quit being silent and pick a fucking side. Right, Vel? Pick a fucking side.
True.
All right. Yeah. So definitely dig that shit. And poor, you know, I'm becoming a bigger and bigger fan of Genevieve O'Reilly with each episode. Not so much her her senatorial garb, not really, but when she gets to her embassy, her apartments, and she puts on those white flowing gowns, whew, God bless redheads. And here she is for my next top moment. And Nick, let's kind of dig into this one a little bit because apparently we were both wrong on Vel, and Vel Sartha seems to be Vel Sartha, a rich Chandrilan relative of Mon Mothma. So, I guess in kind of my thoughts section here, now that we know that Vel and Mon are related, and based on their discussion, which I found to be a top moment, does it not sound like Vel recruited Mon into this thing?
Yeah, it definitely seems like it. It definitely seems like she was involved with Luthen at first, and then, I mean, she probably already knew from, Mon Mothma's involvement in like the earlier,
right? That she was safe to at least approach.
Yeah, like the earlier senatorial objections to Palpatine's reach of power, like during fucking Revenge of the Sith. So she already knew that she was on this borderline of rebellion anyway. So yeah, it does seem like she is the one that kind of pulled Mon into this, and then made the introduction to Luthen. So yeah, I think that's a safe.
Yeah, I mean, we had a lot of questions on Vel, even many episodes ago. We were the first people to go, hey man, how does someone like her get on Coruscant so easily and look so well to do? Well, now we know. She's not related to Luthen or any of that shit. She's literally a rich person from Chandrila. And
and she, like, I also like how Mon says at one point, like, hey, go act like a rich girl
for a little
while.
Right.
So people know that you're still around.
And that's where you notice Vel essentially re-speaks or kind of repurposes Cinta's advice to her. Because last episode, Cinta's like, listen, we can't sit down and play with each other and flick our nipples until we win. The rebellion comes first. And what does Vel do to Mon? Hey, Mon, I can't be a rich girl on Chandrila because the rebellion comes first. So it's almost like she reassures herself through Cinta's advice, which just, again, shows you the great writing in this series. But it's odd that, like, there's no mention of the Sarthas in any sort of lore. So she is, to me, like a true new character, definitely related to Mon. I mean, even Perrin knows about her. He was making fun of her, like, hey, you're essentially, for Chandrilan women, you're an old bag. You'll be lucky to be gifted to a widower. I don't know if anyone else picked up on that, but like Chandrila's got some really fucked up shit when it comes to wedding women off to men. It's very medieval.
It seems like it is still like it's still arranged marriages.
Yeah.
Like that's
and Vel is essentially considered damaged goods because she's so old and not paired off yet. And dickhead Perrin made sure to kind of make that point.
Call that out.
But who showed up again during this scene? Fucking Lita, man. I'm telling you, Lita is going to do something. I still believe it.
But also, like, seeing Lita and like seeing how she is kind of attached to Vel too. Like she really likes Vel.
I'm telling you, she's gonna fuck it up.
I wonder how this is going to go down between them, because it's very interesting.
Because she's picked up on her mom hanging with her old boyfriend Tay. She even dropped that line again. She clearly loves cousin Val way more than her mom. She fucking hates her mom. Like, she's at that age where she's either just going to be that girl that hates her mom, or she truly just does not like her mom because she thinks her mom's a goody two-shoes and always makes her follow the rules and can't do whatever she wants, like most teens would probably be. But they keep popping her up in the Mon scenes. Just think of her as like a living speaker, and she's eventually going to say something at the wrong time to somebody that's going to get a light bulb that goes off that could cause problems for her cousin or her mom or her family in general. I don't know. I just have a feeling like you don't include a character like her as often as she has been included just for shits and giggles, just to remind us that she hates her mom. Like, we got that scene 1, day 1, when Lita, whatever was introduced. She hates her mom. Okay, check. We know that. So why do you keep showing us? I don't know. Going out on a limb here. I'm not taking it to the bank, but just keep an eye on her fucking something up big time. So, yeah, it's interesting that we got the Vel Mon tie-in finally. We now know, but it's like, okay, well, why did Luthen go to Vel then? Like, what is this? Why is Vel so special? Like, we know why Cassian is because of hindsight. Why was Vel so special that Luthen recruits her? That's kind of where my head's going now.
Yeah, it's like maybe I mean, maybe she was just so like when you're first getting people, you try to get people who are dedicated to the cause. Just hands down, there is no question. There is no, hesitation about how they feel or decision-making process. They're just like, fuck this. She's at every protest. She's doing everything she can. And when you see people like that, you're just like, this is somebody that I can use in my cause. So maybe it was just as simple as that.
He probably recognized, obviously, if she's a rich girl, she had assets. Okay, so maybe he's like, we could loop into that, or maybe it was as deep as, if I can get the Vel, I can get the Mon. One of those deals. Like if I take down this person, I can convince the even more powerful person. Which in the end, Mon definitely has way more galactic reach than Vel does. So each one is serving a role in what I still have to say is Luthen's rebellion. I mean, until proven otherwise, he is the new grandfather of the rebellion. He is the guy.
Oh yeah. He's definitely the figurehead and the tip of the spear for the rebellion 100%. Right now.
And I miss seeing him. Like I thought that was a bold choice to completely cut him and Clay out for a whole episode.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure.
Which means, I don't know, maybe he'll get a star turn in the next one. But we only got 3 to go, so we're going to have the culmination of this 3-episode arc tomorrow, or Wednesday the 9th, depending on when you're listening. And then we move right into our 2-episode finale, and that's it. Bingo, bango, few more months to wait, Bad Batch, and then we're on The Mandalorian. Here we go. All right.
Oh, yeah.
So keep your eye on Leda. And hopefully, I don't know, do you think we follow Vel to Chandrilla, or does she just show up in an important spot like she has been over the past few episodes? Like, she just shows up where she needs to be.
I would hope that we follow her to Chandrilla, if only so we can see Chandrilla.
Yeah, I don't think that planet's ever been featured in live action. Yeah. So, all right. Okay, and then the final top moment, and clearly I think this would be everyone's, at least on their list, was the closing scene where the old guy, after suffering a stroke on the floor, finally succumbs. They bring in the medical doctor, and Kino finally allows himself to ask the right questions and get the right answers. I love the whole scene. Again, Andy's acting was fucking brilliant. Cassian just kind of sitting there, like, taking it all in and almost letting it play out, like we kind of need this to happen type of stuff. And then just the casualness of the doctor prisoner. That's the best part. I mean, even the doctor's a fucking prisoner, and at this point in his stay, he's just like, fuck it. This guy is better off dying than staying alive. Like, he's better off getting euthanized. Like, they put dude down like we'd go take our dog or our cat to. They're just like, hey, fuck it. He's too far gone. Kill him. But he finally tips his cap to Kino and says, listen, they fucked up. They let someone go on 2, and he came back in on 4. They found out, and they had to nuke the whole floor. And now that they know that the word's gotten out, that's pretty much the warning. Like, every single one of you are on watch now. And if you do one thing wrong, we're fucking frying your entire unit.
Yeah, we're going to kill all of you. We'll kill an entire floor of people.
Yeah, it's just because, and that's why
we do not care.
Cassian and everyone's like, yo, let's just pretend we don't know. The less they think we know, the better. Because if they know that we know, we're done. But I really, the killer, and it was the quote of the week, is you could see it through Andy's performance. Once he learns the truth, like, hey, I'm not getting out in 411 days or 271 days or shifts. And Cassian, I think Cassian too realized it, and he returned to a conversation that he was not successful in earlier in the episode, and all he says, how many guards on the floor at one time? And without even thinking, no more than 12. Kino is committed. Let's fucking go. All right? Yeah. I thought that end fucking kicked ass. I loved it. No more than 12.
The end did a great job of actually setting up, like, okay, episode 9, this is where shit's going to get real, because now everybody's in on it. If you weren't in on it before, you're in on it now. And, we're probably going to see a pretty big floor-wide uprising.
Yeah. Like, this ain't just going to be Cassian and Melshi and Kino. I mean, now that you have Kino on your side, he's going to get Ziska in, who's the other shift manager on 5-2. Probably the N, right? Unit 5-2-N, floor 5, room 2, shift night. You think I watch this stuff? Hey, real quick, I want to touch on a good point that Connor, Press Pause Photography's brought up in the live stream here. Just made this connection. In Force Unleashed, Galen, aka Starkiller, is kind of the grandfather of the rebellion, who has Starkiller's armor in the show. Luthen. It's a nice little Easter egg there. He's not saying that Luthen is Starkiller, but it's kind of like that, a tip of the hat from the prop department. Like, hey, you remember in Legends that Starkiller kind of started the rebellion? Well, hey, Luthen's got his armor, so we know. Yeah. We know you're looking. So I kind of like that. Yeah, I like that.
That is a nice connection. I do like that, because I hadn't even thought of it at the time.
But even regardless that it was Press Pause Photographies, it was on our show. So make sure to send any medals or trophies to myself or Nick. Okay, thank you. It's our content, right? We're gonna start charging you all $8 a month. $8 a month. We got to get revenues up. Ads are down. Come on. We'll give you check marks. They can be red, green, blue, rainbow. It doesn't matter. We're here. Okay. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, it wasn't a bad episode at all. I just didn't find a lot of standout moments. 4 is typically low for me. I didn't include the creepy Cyril stuff. I wasn't as turned off as Nick, because I still think he's like so singular focused on Cassian and redemption that he is being a creep and trying to kind of reach his goal. But Nick, I do think they're still kind of setting him up to come in and just Elmer Fudd the whole fucking thing. Just completely screw it up. Screw it up for Miro, screw it up for the Empire. I still think he's going to make a huge folly during the finale that just allows the rebels to get another win thanks to him. I don't know. I have that feeling because he wants something so bad. And usually when characters want something so bad, they don't get it. They get themselves in deeper shit than they were before they tried to go for their ultimate goal.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there for sure. I do think that he is going to somehow fuck up things royally for the Empire.
It's like he's going to be the one that lets Cassian and Bix and people escape or something. Somehow, I just have a feeling.
Yeah, I think you're definitely right about that. It's going to be interesting to see how he gets there now. But yeah, I mean, we'll see. But yeah, I think that he is going to be the ultimate kind of downfall to whatever Miro's plan is.
Yeah, like Kingdom's saying, I hope we have a Cyril payoff. I there's no doubt you're going to get the payoff, and I think it's going to be a spectacular fail. He might get one little victory, and that could be, maybe he's responsible for the death of Marva, because I don't think Marva's long for this world. That I know we made the jokes early on where Cassian is going to be like that character from The Princess Bride, where he's always like, "Hey, I'm Cassian. You killed X, Y, and Z. I'm here for revenge." I don't think it's clearly not going to get that bad, but Marva's toast. Like that's a done deal. I mean, what Miro even said, listen, we're just kind of letting her do her thing. We know she's kind of our bait for if Cassian ever decides to come back. It is still funny that these assholes don't know that they've had him locked up for a few months. I know, at this point for quite a while. Oh, it's months at this point. It's months. I mean, we saw he was in there for 30 days in episode 8. So
in the first show,
and we couldn't see that for some reason he switched cells. I don't know if anyone noticed that, but he actually switched cells from episode 8 to 9.
Yeah, because he wasn't right by Kino.
He was in the cell Kino was in episode 9, and someone else was in the one that Cassian is in. But either my point there is we can no longer see Cassian's countdown clock, so we don't know a true amount of time. But I'd imagine he's been in the prison for at least 2 months, close to 2 months.
Yeah, if not more. Because man, he has really like you said, he's really fallen in as like the leader of this table.
100%.
And he's like, he's figured out this whole, like he's somehow figured out like, if I saw away at this thing in this wall by the toilet, then something is going to happen that's going to allow us to escape easier. So I would even say like maybe like fucking 4 to 6 months, maybe.
Well, we can't. The season only covers a year, and I think we'd be getting close to that if he was in there for 6 months. But yeah, it is multiple months. But also, I mean, really, the first few episodes, I think technically only took place over like a week's timeline, if you really think about it. It was like the Morlana 1 stuff was a day or two, and then even the Aldhani stuff, was like 3 days,
less than a week.
Yeah, like 3 or 4 days, and then he's back to Ferrix for a day, and then he's on Neamos and locked up. So.
Yep.
Yeah, you could be right then, because maybe episodes 1 through 7 only covered at best a month, if that.
Oh yeah, like a month,
if that. So yeah, I'd say 3+ for sure. All right, so yeah, I mean, episode 10 clearly will be exciting, and we'll drop our speculation on that after we talk about this episode's Easter eggs, which I don't think there were any references. There was one cool one. Not really. And then the neatest part was its homage, as I like to say, to A New Hope. So first up is, Nick, I don't know if you would have noticed this. This is only like for crazy people like myself. But the scene, it's like, I think it's like right after they put the headset on Bix. And you know, Adria gives that great performance. And then, they show the Imperial walking out. And as they walk out, the camera work is identical to the scene in A New Hope where Darth Vader is torturing his daughter. Where the door slams shut, the camera starts at the floor and follows a black boot walking up until it shoots the whole hallway. I mean, it's like, it's dead nuts on not to be a tip of the hat from the cinematographer to that scene in A New Hope. So
very interesting. No, I mean, I didn't notice something like that for sure, but that's a damn good catch.
I mean, dude, there weren't many. I mean, I wrote down a lot of shit, and half the planets they were rattling off never existed, and it's just like, hey, all right, I gotta do something. So I ran with that. The other very brief reference from this episode, This episode felt like Tony wrote it and directed it, because there was no fucking around with Star Wars lore at all.
Yeah.
But when we were in one of the ISB briefing rooms, after they grabbed the pilot, which was an interesting deal. Like this pilot was supposed to be on that mission that Luthen was setting up in the previous episode. So if you pay attention, there are through lines for every episode, and every conversation has meaning. That's why Andor is good. There is no throwaway anything. There's no throwaway scene, no throwaway dialogue. Because that X-Wing pilot they're talking about was from Krieger's division. That's how the Empire learned about the mission Luthen was trying to recruit Saul for. So that's all very interesting. But if you notice, their plan, they're like, oh yeah, let's just kind of dump them out there fucked up by Kafrene. And if you did some searching, or remember a little movie called Rogue One, guess what Kafrene is? That's that ring world planet that we first meet Cassian where he shoots the informant. That is Kafrene. So that's gotcha. A nice little tie-in to Rogue One and rebel activity taking place on there, or suspected rebel activity. So that was a nice little drop by our boy Zhang, who we're still kind of thinking may be a double agent, or maybe considering double-crossing the Empire, because we did see a scene from a trailer a few weeks back where he is not in his whites, and he looks a little frantic, as if he is, scurrying away from something or towards something that he shouldn't be messing with. Okay. Yeah, that's a quick one here. This will be
not a lot of Easter eggs in here. I will say that, like, over the last 2 episodes, we've spent so much time in like pretty sterilized environments that you don't really have a lot of opportunity to like slip Easter eggs in the background like you can in Luthen's shop or something like that. We've either been like in the ISB chambers, or we've been like in the prison, and then the little time that we spent on Ferrix during the investigations. But
hey, I'm not complaining. It makes my life a little bit easier on Wednesdays, but I still find that I take 5 to 6 hours to process an Andor episode, which is obscene. But I do it. I bitch about it, but clearly I like it because I get up without an alarm. I mean, it's not even something I have to force myself to do. Tomorrow, naturally, I will start rustling in my sleep around 4:30. And then come 5, I'll just sit there and go, all right, dude, you might as well just fucking get out and get started with it. It's time for another slog. 3 more to go. And then I get a break. I'm excited. I'm excited to just see how the show ends, but I'm more excited to get a few hours of sleep back on my Wednesdays and not have half a shift of content creation work in before I begin my actual real life shift of work, which usually takes me from like 11 to 6. So we'll get there. We will get there. All right, dude. So that's 9 for you. We're moving into 10, which is clearly going to be a prison escape. So how do you think 10 plays out tomorrow?
I mean, 10 has to be the prison break. And I think that's going to play, like, that's going to be most, if not all of the episode, because it seems like unless they just start the prison break without really explaining to us like how they did it or what, like, what preparation that they had to do to like make whatever is going to happen go off, then we're probably going to spend a lot of time on the prison break. I don't imagine that we touch back in or like touch back on Cyril again. I do think that once the prison break goes off and they get it, and then the ISB is made aware of it, if this happens in the same episode, then they will realize we had Cassian and lost him, because they're going to have pictures of everybody that's on that floor, and they'll be able to say like the entirety of this floor just fucking tried to have a prison escape, and these are the people who got away. So then the ISB and Mira would be like, we had the fucking guy and we just let him go. So I do think that we're going to be pretty heavily focused on that. And
their ID system is fucking terrible. I mean, Cassian Andor is in the fucking registry after he got arrested as a kid.
They don't have like facial, like we have facial match recognition system now.
Right. But
like,
they show it like match. They at least had it after the fall of the Empire, because we saw it in The Mandalorian, which is like, what the fuck? Remember, Din had to scan his face to get access to stuff. But
I don't understand why they're not scanning the faces of these prisoners and then running it through like wanted.
I mean, dude, like if you remember his sentencing scene, they're literally using, and some of you young people probably won't even know what I'm about to talk about, but when you used to use a credit card at a store, there were no fucking machines. They had to take this imprint device that would like rub the card numbers and shit onto carbon paper for them to fucking use. And that's how they were checking prisoners in and out on Neamos during his sentencing. His name was, Keith Gergo, long lost father of Grief Cardboard, and they're just like, all right, zip. Sure. They're like, okay, fucking stamped, 6 years, see you later, you're off to Narkina 5. Yeah, but I know us as fans were all like, that's fucking stupid, but just like Cassian was trying to explain to Kino, like, listen, dude, they don't fucking care. Like, the Empire doesn't care about that shit. We are assets to them. We are no better than droids. In fact, we're better than droids because we are easier to replace. I mean, this is stuff Cassian is saying. So I think it really is just the Empire at this point is so fat, greedy, and blind to anything that's not right in front of its face. It just, it's that overconfidence. No one, listen, the themes have been explained to us throughout this season. Cassian said it when he talked to Luthen for the first time. These people, they would never expect some shithead like me to get one over on them. And that is just galaxy wide, all the way from the Emperor down.
Well, that's the same. I mean, that's essentially what Cassian was saying. He's like, do you think they give a fuck about us in here? Like, they're not listening because they don't care. Like, they're not listening because we're going to die in here. So, like, we can talk as much as we want, and they're not going to hear anything because they don't need to listen to us.
Right.
Like, they don't.
It's not worth their time. It's literally not worth the time and effort. Because we ain't going anywhere. We're in an underwater prison with electrified floors. Like, really, what could we do? I mean, the voice of God at any moment could just go, blah, 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 see you later. It would just clear out the whole damn prison.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of those, like, that was a very cool scene too. Like, him trying to convince Kino that, like, dude, it doesn't matter what you say. Nobody is listening to us. Yeah. Nobody cares. And the only thing that you're like, you have this false hope that in 41 days you're going to get out, but take a look around you, bud. Nobody gets out unless it's in a fucking body bag. So
yeah, I mean, I was surprised he just didn't stand up and start doing a dance like, my name's Cassian Andor. Yeah. Hey, Empire, I'm Cassian. I stole your money. Blah blah blue blue. See, they don't care.
Yeah, they don't give a shit.
Hey, we got a new true Greenbeard here in the live stream. A good point. We are so not just talking about Star Wars right now. I love Andor, but like all good science fiction, it's actually about what's happening in the real world right now. And yes, if you were here earlier, I kind of made some of those connections. 100%.
Yeah.
Tony Gilroy, just as George Lucas did. Like, a lot of people forget, George Lucas wrote Star Wars as his reaction to fascism, growing up as a young boy during World War II and all that fun stuff. He ain't a fan of it. Remember, the rebels, those would be your, I know this is a dirty word, but they'd be your Democrats, your socialists, those types of thinkers, all right? I said it. It's the truth. Get over it. You don't understand Star Wars if you don't get that, okay? Thank you. All right. Okay, so here's my predictions for episode 10. The prison break, come on. Anyone could predict that, all right? So we're not looking for any glory on that. I will give my take on who I think actually makes it out. I think it's Cassian and Melshi. I think everyone else dies but them. It just makes sense. And if anyone else lives, they're going their own way. Like Pembok or Taga or some of these other table mates, they're not getting involved. But the way this breakout is going to go down, I think that is just going to solidify the bond between Melshi and Cassian and kind of link them at the hip moving forward. Now, how do they actually get rescued? I almost think, in a surprise twist, either Vel or Luthen will be the ones to come in and really take these people off world, because they can do whatever they want and get out of the prison, but where the fuck they're going? They're in the middle of a body of water, all right? So I could see them getting out, but I can't see them securing boats or transports to fly themselves out. It didn't even look like they had transports there. They didn't even have a dock. Like the transport just comes in and they're like, okay, jump into that fucking hole. Good luck. But I wouldn't be surprised if Luthen, who you would think would be able to finally figure out, like, oh, hey, we've heard this from our sources. There's this dude on Narkina 5 that has to be Cassian. Let's go take him out. But then when he realizes, like, oh shit, he just escaped and he's changing, I can see it. Maybe that's when Luthen decides he can spare Cassian and actually leverage him as the asset that he initially thought he could be. I think we have to get Luthen back in episode 10. You can't leave him gone for 2 episodes straight. So, but that's kind of my angle. I think Luthen, along with the Empire, may finally realize that the man they're looking for is right there on Narkina 5, but Luthen will actually be there to help rather than kill. I would love, like you said, Nick. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say is, like, it would be interesting to see, like, how he knows about it, because it seems like it's very hard to get. They would have to have, like, an inside guy in the prison to, like, communicate to Luthen that, like, hey, this is going down. We need assistance for extraction. Because that's the only thing is, like, I don't know how he would know about it, but That's probably something that they'll cover in the episode.
Yeah, I just like how are they going to get off planet? Because there were no hangars unless we missed something, because those things just kind of fly up. They don't really even dock. It was almost hovering there. They all got off and see you later. All right, maybe I should have called the rebels freedom fighters. Apparently, True Greenbeard does not think that they would be liberals or socialists. They're freedom fighters. How's that? Is that better? Dr. Awesome, is this going to be like Alcatraz, do you reckon? Sure.
That's a good, that's what I was going to say is I wonder if there's boats that are docked over there, some sort of vessel that they could hijack just to make their own way off of out of the middle of the ocean or middle of the whatever body of water they're in, off to shore, and then try to get pickup from shore. That is the big question. That was how are they actually going to get away?
Yeah. So I don't know. Luthen, Vel, the people looking for Cassian, they all make sense to me, because just like the Empire, they are looking for him, and Luthen clearly has resources that he could find him probably faster than the Empire. And Nick, I'm still trying to connect the dots to a trailer scene that we have not seen yet, and it's Luthen's Fondor craft literally taking on, which looks kind of like an ISB spy Star Destroyer. It's got all these comms dishes on it. And, it's maybe that happens because he comes to rescue Cassian. I don't know, but I'm trying to figure that out, because he's not going to attack a Star Cruiser for fun unless he gets outed. And really the only way he can get out at this point is if the Empire gets Cassian, because Bix is still alive, but they need her to identify Luthen. They don't know what he looks like. Yeah. So they wouldn't just start attacking him. So there's a reason that Luthen's craft is going to be fighting a Star Cruiser, and it's probably because I think he may just finally be like, hey, fuck it, I'm going in. Yeah, that's my guess.
I mean, after not hearing from him in the last episode or in this most recent episode, it wouldn't be surprising if he's probably starting to freak out now, especially because they still haven't found Cassian.
And he knows that's dangerous. That is a lead right to him. Okay, so
yeah,
I don't know. I can't quite wrap my head around how they're going to resolve that speed bump in their relationship. Luthen wants him dead, but we know who Cassian becomes. And Luthen clearly thought he was that guy. So does Luthen have a change of heart because of something? Is it because Cassian does break free and leads a prison revolt, and he realizes oh shit, this guy really is who I thought he was, and he's finally coming around to the notion that you can't just run and hide anymore. You have to fucking choose a side and fight. I'm gonna keep him. Let's do it. I'm gonna go get him. And that's how he gets found out. But I don't know. I'm having trouble kind of piecing that shit together. How they're going to resolve. We want one of our best rebel assets dead before he can do the major thing that he does. So
yeah, exactly. Anything that makes him the best rebel asset.
All right. Hey, True Greenbeard, if you're in prison or work, we're still glad you're here with us. Tell a friend, sub to the channel. All right. I think we get another check-in on Ferrix too. Maybe even from a little Marv action. I don't think Miro ends up on Ferrix quite yet. I'm thinking that's going to be the 2-part finale, but maybe they get closer to that, because their big deal now is the ruse on Carfine, right? That's the ISB's big plan, is to essentially plant the X-Wing and the pilot.
The dead pilot.
Yeah, to
push it towards, let them tow it in,
and then kind of follow things from there. So I'm sure we'll get follow up on that. These episodes are they're easy to predict, the very obvious stuff, but the some of the threads,
the little detail.
Yeah, like the Luthen thread in particular, the Vel thread. All right, I mean, she is tasked with finding Cassian, so you would think if he gets himself out or they find where he is, she would be involved. I don't know. I feel like Vel and Luthen are going to have a hand in getting that dude off of Narkina 5, even though they want to kill him. And that will be the fun part.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I think that is it for Andor episode 9. Nobody's listening, Kino. I added that at the end because I'm a genius. So now it's time to get into Andor season 2. How about that?
Andor season 2.
That's right, dude. Tony was sitting there spitting his game this week, and I don't know, revealing more than he should or revealing just enough. But we do have some. I don't know. I kind of like these details. I know, some sites cover when a show starts shooting and shit like that. I don't understand that, but we did get some decent details here, at least to let us know if Andor season 2 is going to continue with the same quality and look and feel. So, among the reveals, we got the season directors, and there's going to be 3 of them. So, I believe one of the 3 is going to direct 6, and then the other 2 will direct 3 apiece.
Interesting.
So, our directors, and I believe these are all new, meaning they didn't work on Andor season 1.
Season 1, yeah, I think you are correct. At least thus far, we haven't seen any of these directors.
We got Ariel Kleiman of Yellow Jackets and the Resort fame. Janice Metz, All the Old Knives.
I have not seen that
and
either.
Alonso Ruiz Palacios, Narcos Mexico and Outer Range.
I watched the first 2 seasons of Narcos, but I did not watch Narcos Mexico or The Outer Range. So I am unfamiliar with all of the works of
Diego.
these folks.
Diego was in Narcos early on, right? Diego Luna?
No, that was Pedro Pascal.
I thought Diego was in it too, though. Check
that
out on your Google.
Check
that on your Google machine, because that would be a connection there. Like Alonso and Diego have worked together before, but either way, those are your directors. So, like I said, each one will be given blocks of episodes to direct, just like we got in this first season, and each 3-episode block, as we learned months ago, is going to cover a year's time in season 2. Yeah. Diego
he was not in Narcos.
Yeah, Diego was in Narcos Mexico.
Oh, in Mexico. Yeah. Okay, yeah. He wasn't in the proper Narcos. No.
All right. So
yeah, because that was Pedro Pascal.
We got there at somehow. We made it. So they have worked together, which usually yields even better performances, working relationships, on set, atmosphere, all that important shit. So just prepared for the time jumps to be a little more in your face in season 2, unlike this season, which just covers a year's time. But that's why you turn into the Star Wars time show, because you have geniuses like Matt and Nick to break out the timeline. And I think at the end of this, we're like, we're about like eight months in to Andor season 1. So there you go. The other news we got the writing team. And, of course, there's some nepotism, because you have to. That's what lords and ladies do. So Dan Gilroy's coming back, but we can't hate him because, he wrote the Aldani arc, which I think at this point would probably be
the best of the season.
I agree.
So far.
I think most people would agree with us. And he's also bringing back Beau Willimon, who is doing the arc we're currently watching, the prison stuff. So Beau has been in charge of the Narkina 5 arc. And there will be a new member to the writing team for season 2, and that's going to be Tom Bissell, who, Nick, you may be familiar with. He wrote a ton of video games back in the day.
I'm very familiar with his work in vacuum cleaners.
Yes, he is also of the Bissell dynasty, so he's a rich motherfucker. But yeah, lots of video games, like big ones. I think one that stands out, Gears of War 5 most recently. So, he's done that. But in terms of TV, in case you're wondering, he has been a writer on The Mosquito Coast on Apple TV.
Seems like he also he wrote The Disaster Artist.
The original?
He was a writer.
Or the one they did with Franco. The
Disaster Artist is the one with like the Francos.
That guy's career's dead, huh?
Oh yeah, Franco. Yeah. But yeah, it seems like he was a writer on Uncharted 4.
Yeah, there you go.
Uncharted, the Legacy of Thieves collection. So yeah, and then like you said for Gears 5. So yeah, he's been around.
Hey, how about that? They finally announced they're finally going to make a Gears of War movie. Netflix got in.
Yeah, and a show. It's going to be a live action movie, from what I can tell, and an animated show. Yeah,
I'm glad, because I mean, I think Gears of War 1 is like 16 years old at this point in time, maybe 17. And
I think it's 60. I think it just hit its 16-year anniversary.
16, yeah. Because I'll never forget it. That, to me, is one of the greatest games I've ever played. It was kind of new, the whole pop and cover shit. The gore. I've always been a fan of Cliffy B. I loved Unreal. Yeah. I like what the guy does. But I really love Gears of War. It brought me. That was the most online gaming I've ever done in my life. It was almost like for a year straight. Every fucking day, dude. I would get on there with Stunt Buddy, with some cousins. But I met a ton of people over in the UK that we became good friends. In fact, I went over to the UK and hung out with them. Like that's how much time we spent together online playing Gears of War. So I was pumped to see that they finally did it. I mean, they've been trying to get a fucking movie going since Gears came out, and everyone has been fan casting Batista as Marcus, and I still think that's a good call. I think he's a great Marcus.
He's a great actor too. Like,
I love Batista, man. And really, I wasn't high on Cena until Peacemaker, but after that series, Cena is up there too. That dude is funny as fuck. Like he knows how to deliver comedy. But yeah, I mean, Gears of War 1, getting that the Seriously achievement where you had to get 10,000 ranked kills in multiplayer, just some of the best gaming of my life. And the song, I'll never forget the marketing song. The one from Donnie Darko,
the Mad
World. Yeah. I mean, just fucking beautiful shit.
Mm-hmm. All right. Great song.
Yeah, props. This was back in the day before I had kids. He's all like, "Oh, Matt will fly to the UK for friends, but he won't come to LA." It was a different world, man. That was 2013. I really went over there to watch the Steelers play, but luckily I convinced some of these people to come from their villages down to London town, which they all hate because it's too expensive. But to us Americans, it's like, hey, it's like any other overpriced city here, so fine. I'll pay for the upgrades. But yeah, I don't know, dude. It's just it's little kids being a dad, being a full professor now, and having to like show the junior faculty that I'm not some fuck up. I'll get there.
Life changes.
Yeah, I need a reason to get out to LA. And these days, it wouldn't even be to go to like the head shops, because I finally got my medical last week, which is just fantastic. Like, come on, let's go United States. Like, what are we doing here? I'll get there. One of these days, I'll get there. I got friends I haven't seen for years out on the West that I want to check in with. So invite me. Make me a VIP. I see. You should see. I mean, Props and Scoundrel. You should see what they got into this weekend at the Rhode Island Comic Con. I mean, Justin is like the wrangler of all these secondary Mandoverse Star Wars characters now. It's amazing. I mean, he took young Casa is with him. The Armorer, I think, was there. Tate Flesher, he wears the armor of Heavy Mandalorian. I mean, come on. And Super Scoundrels is there. Devin's there, like, taking pictures and filming videos. It's like they're living the Star Wars life. Sign me up. Yeah, get me in the company.
That's the good stuff.
Make me a brand ambassador. I'll go to these cons with you and handle these celebrities. Let's go. I got free time on the weekends. All right, man. Here we go. It's good chat today. So if you want to join, don't forget, youtube.com/Star Wars Time Show, Tuesdays, usually around 2:30 p. East. Have some fun. If you are on the live stream right now, don't forget to like what you're watching, leave a comment, share, sub. We love you. All right. So moving on. So we got directors, we got the writing team. And finally, and I don't think this should be a surprise to many, but it's I guess a welcome one, at least to get confirmation. But we will definitely be going to Yavin for an Andor Season 2, which, again, just it makes sense, especially because Tony has promised that Andor Season 2 is literally going to end where Rogue One begins. Which
like right up to it. So
I mean, the final shot to me, Nick, is Cassian going like, "All right, guys, I'm gonna go get that intel," and he flies to Carfine, and then that's it. Like, there we go.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I wonder if this like Kafrene thing that they're doing now is gonna lead directly into where we get into Rogue One. That would be interesting. So, yeah, but he also going to Yavin, so that makes sense. But we also know that they have to get to Kafrene again.
Yeah,
by the end of that
that's
series.
what I mean. So I really could see, obviously, some big stuff probably happens. Maybe the death of Luthen, Bix, Vel. I mean, I was trying to explain to like non-nerds that a lot of these characters have to disappear,
have to die.
Like they have to.
Like Luthen has to die.
I mean, has to. Vel has to. You can't have founding members or members of the Circle, aka the genesis of the Rebel Alliance, just retire and go off screen once we hit, Rogue One, A New Hope, and so on and so forth. Like they need to be addressed, and that usually means death.
That usually means
Vel.
I
don't think Vel just walks away and has a happy ending with Cinta. Luthen doesn't walk away and keep running an antiquities shop on Coruscant. They're going to pay the price that they've been talking about. Like they picked their side, and they're going to pay dearly for it. But it's all going to be in honor of the Rebel Alliance and propping them up and showing everyone what they need to do to take down that goddamn Death Star. Yeah. All right. So there's all the Andor talk. Let's get into the Acolyte. And for the first time since we've been talking about this show, Nick, we can actually talk about official, confirmed shit. That's right. We're very highbrow over here. We don't call it news or updates. We call it shit. Okay?
And like the official casting list here, I mean, it hits on a lot of the rumors that we had already heard.
Confirmed every single one. It's the new ones that are the neat part.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I was gonna say. But one of the new castings is like the biggest one. I think so. Honestly.
So I'm with you. Let's go ahead and spin our wheels, but real quick. So here is the cast now. And we know, based on the Kenobi sheet that was just like this, the grid, that there's going to be even more people in the cast. But this is the main cast of the Acolyte, now confirmed. Many of these you've heard as rumored on this dumb little show. So Amandla, we already knew. Lee Jong-jae, confirmed. Squid Game guy.
Yep.
Manny Jacinto, confirmed. The Good Place guy. Daphne Keene, this was one that I actually did the rumor post a day before all this became official, but now she's in it. Daphne Keene, X-23 from Logan, and that series on HBO that I still have not watched the second season. Jodie Turner-Smith, we talked months ago about.
We talked about her.
Queen and Slim. Yep. Here's a new one, Rebecca Henderson.
She is from something.
No fucking clue.
But I can't place it. Because she has such a recognizable. Oh man, she looks. Kill me. And I think she's from this. I think she's from this show called Single Drunk Female or something like that. At least that's what I think I know her from. Okay, so she was in. She was in Inventing Anna, that show on Netflix about like the fake Russian heiress. Taylor and I watched that. She was in Single Drunk Female, so I was right about that. She's actually been in quite a few things. She was in some of Westworld, it seems. She was also in Russian Doll. Russian Doll makes sense.
Oh yeah,
with
I know who
Leslie,
she is. She was one of the lesbians that kept getting in the loop, like one of the friends of the apartment where her birthday took place in season 1. That's who it is.
Okay. So yeah, she's been in quite a few things, and I'm actually a fan of her from what I have seen.
All right, so she's one of the first new ones. Charlie Barnett, we heard about from Russian Dolls.
We heard about.
Here's another new one, Dean Charles Chapman.
Don't know who that is.
He was actually in something big, I think.
Yeah, let's
recently.
See. He was in 1917.
Yeah, he might. Oh, yeah, he's the guy that gets shot on the farm because he's bitching or something.
This guy, he's the guy who played fucking Tommen in Game of Thrones.
Okay, there you go.
The young kid king or something like that, right?
Yeah, the guy that jumps out, yeets himself out a window.
Yeah,
because he's all sad about something. He kills himself.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he jumps out. Yeah,
and then the big one, and the one I want to talk about, who she could be, aka I think she is actually the titular character, and that's Carrie Ann Moss, Trinity. Yes. Love it.
From The Matrix. If you are familiar, hopefully you are familiar with The Matrix, but yes, Trinity is in the show. So you think now that she is the Acolyte, or that she is the master to the Acolyte?
Let me read the synopsis, because the synopsis, I think, clarifies a lot. At least cleans up my brain and how I've been speculating on this. So here's the synopsis here. Blah, 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 blah. The Acolyte is a mystery thriller that will take viewers into a galaxy of shadowy secrets and emerging dark side powers in the final days of the High Republic era. A former Padawan reunites with her Jedi Master to investigate a series of crimes, but the forces they confront are more sinister than they ever anticipated. So I think it's very interesting that it is written as former Padawan. So Nick, let's parse that out first. Does that mean that she quit, or this person quit, or they have graduated to a Jedi Knight and that's why they're being described as a former Padawan? Just like Dooku would say, Qui-Gon Jinn was formerly my Padawan. Now he's a Jedi Master.
And I mean, even like Obi-Wan had said something about Anakin being my former Padawan. After I don't know. I mean, because you could read it two different ways. A former Padawan, meaning kind of like Ahsoka leaves the Order, but then comes back when her master needs her. Or she was this guy's Padawan. She's kind of been a knight out on her own. And I keep saying she because, or I guess I should say they. I think Amandla is this former Padawan. And I think the Jedi Master is Li Zhongjae. So I was kind of leaning that way too. So Amandla, I do think, is the Acolyte, but now I'm stuck between, is it Lee or is it Carrie Ann Moss?
No, I think Amandla. I think Amandla is the Padawan or former Padawan.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And I think, but I think.
Go ahead. What's your guess
I don't think that. I think it's either Lee or Carrie Ann Moss who is the Master. Right. It would not surprise me if Carrie was the Master.
Okay, so we're completely flipsy then, because I think Carrie Ann Moss is the Acolyte, and her master is going to be like a big one, like a Plagueis or something.
See, I could see that, or I could see it to being where Amandla is both the Padawan, the former Padawan, and then the eventual Acolyte.
Well, I mean, dude, all along I was like, well, fuck, if she's the star, she's the Acolyte. So I'm with you, but just that little synopsis now has me. Well, she's a Jedi working with the Jedi Master, going against the Acolyte and ultimately their master. But it could all be wordplay here.
There's a lot of potential. Like, you could actually mix this up quite a bit. You could, like, Daphne Keane could be the Acolyte, and then Carrie Ann Moss could be
a master of some sort. Yeah,
the main dark side master, or the way that this cast is set up, I feel like anybody could be, like, a lot of these people could be the Acolyte. And a lot of these people could be the Master. Like, I could see Li Zhongjae being the Master. I could see Carrie Ann Moss being the Master, or the former Jedi Master. I could even see Rebecca Henderson playing like a former Jedi Master. But I could also see Li Zhongjae or Carrie Ann Moss being the central bad guy, and like luring Amandla in to be the Acolyte. Or, I mean, there's a lot. I like this cast, because there's so many. Like, it works so well with all of them being able to play these different parts.
I'm really pining for Carrie Ann to be the bad guy. I think it would just be different for her. I mean, she kind of plays a gray type of character in Netflix's Marvel series. She was that lawyer Jerry or whatever, where she wasn't really good, but she wasn't ultimately evil. So I don't know. I just feel like Carrie's going to be the bad one. And the other reason why, Nick, if you look at the first released official image, I mean, you got the showrunner, the director here, Leslie, with Amandla and Lee together on a set. It looks like they have script pages in their hand. That's why I just instantly went, okay, this is the Jedi Master and the former Padawan.
Yeah, it definitely could be. It could be that duo. And yeah, I mean, it will be interesting to see like how they treat the Acolyte. Like, is the Acolyte also the Padawan, like the former Padawan that like makes the switch over, or is it somebody else?
That's how I mean, the day that even the title was announced, I was like, all right, we're probably going to see someone become a dark side loyalist follower who probably was good. But now I'm like, well, we may get to see the resurgence of the dark side in the High Republic Jedi, realizing it too late to where, this is the end of the High Republic. And I honestly think the bad guys are going to win in this series, because you have to think that they still keep the resurgence of the dark side and the Sith under wraps all the way up through the Phantom Menace. It isn't until Maul makes himself known that the Jedi are like, oh shit,
yeah,
the Sith are back.
Or did they lose? Or does the dark side like get defeated, but not fully defeated, which is why in the Grand Republic, they're like, oh, well, yeah, nobody's seen Sith in forever. Last time we saw Sith, we wiped them all out. So
I
don't
know. I would still love if Carrie Ann was then the Acolyte of Plagueis, because you could establish Plagueis, who's only been spoken about in canon now in Revenge of the Sith. Anything else Plagueis has been jettisoned.
Has been wiped.
So it would be a great time to recanonize him. And if you've been reading the tea leaves and you're not just a full-on mouth breeder, apparently Leslie Headland is like a huge EU nerd. Like, I mean, she read all that shit from the 80s and 90s and early aughts. And I think Kathleen has been saying like, oh, she can draw on this knowledge and she can weave this stuff back into canon. And I mean, I would love any type of Legends, because I like that type of stuff. I mean, I wasn't a Legends person, but I like when it gets recanonized, because, again, the through line for me is everything. But I think Plagueis just makes a ton of sense to get in front of our faces, recanonized in a live action property to help make Sidious's plea and the story at the opera hit a little harder for people that may not have read all those books that don't count anymore. Yeah.
And I'm really curious to see too, like if they go with the Plagueis angle, who's gonna play him? Because I don't think
he's like he's almost alien looking, isn't he? Like
he is. He is alien, at least previously.
He's got like a big
in canon,
fucking
he
head.
Was alien. Very long face, very tall. I think he was almost like 9 feet tall. Like he was a very tall, like large alien humanoid. So I wonder if they would have somebody who they haven't revealed yet playing him, if he is going to be in the show, which I do hope he is in the show. So
yeah. So I don't know. I mean, it was nice to finally get these official confirmations, because it does allow for a little more thoughtful speculation, and giving us the asset definitely could be to throw us off. But it does feel like if Amandla and Lee and Leslie have script pages, they're clearly on a practical set. They just scream former Padawan and Jedi Master. And Carrie Ann Moss, I don't know, there's just something about her. I'm like, I want to see this lady play evil. Like, I think she would kill it as a dark side user, or someone convincing people of the light to come to the dark. I really think she would sell it even better than any of these male dark side users we've seen in the past trying to convince people to come and cross the line. It would be unique, because we really don't have powerful dark side females in moving Star Wars, like TV and movies, right? It doesn't exist.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that she would be I think she would be a fantastic dark side Sith. I mean, the only I mean, what is it? Ventress? Ventress is our only female Darkseid user
yeah, but
that we've seen. And
by the time she kind of she like hits the obituary, she more or less has had
she's not a Sith.
Right.
Yeah. She's a
bounty hunter and a lover of Quinlan Voss if they stick to that story. So
yeah. I mean, everything else was in books, and I don't even think that those books are canonized anymore. I get, I guess Barriss, but we never even confirmed, like outside of like Barriss's turn, we never even saw her go further in her Darkseid journey.
No, she just
kind
gets
of
locked up. I mean, and I know, and this would be a while back, but a lot of people got the Barriss chatter going because they saw her insignia in the Grogu flashback at the temple, and they're like, is she the one that saved? I was like, well, they might have still had a room there, but she should have been locked up during Order 66. I mean, she was tried, convicted. Unless
they just let her ass go, which wouldn't be surprising.
But even then, like, Anakin would have fucking killed her still. Like, it's not like, oh, you kind of like the dark side. Fuck you! You're not going to compete with me. Come on. I mean, they're dark side people. He would have stabbed her right through the fucking heart. But yeah, Barriss, her story is unresolved, even though we're about 80 years apart from the Acolytes timeline to what we're talking about now. But
yeah, so I mean,
but you are right. It is. The cast looks very interesting. I dig it. I like the names in there, the big names, the smaller names. It looks like a great ensemble, and obviously this isn't going to be the full deal either.
Yeah, it's not the full cast.
So
yeah, this is just like I would assume like these are the main players.
Yeah. Which, some of them are probably going to be related to a manless character. Some may be other Jedis. You got to think. I mean, we're at the tail end of High Republic, so this is when the Jedi are at their peak.
At the peak.
And that's a funny thing. And I read this from Leslie herself, so she knows what the fuck she's talking about. But she's like, in Star Wars, and it's weird to think about because it's the reverse of our own lives. But in Star Wars, their culture and civilization gets more advanced the further back in time you go.
Yeah. It's almost like what you would see in like disaster or like post-apocalyptic movies, like Horizon. We were talking about Horizon before. Like Horizon is technically set in the future, but there was an apocalypse that made them basically lose all technology.
Yeah, but in Star Wars, it's like the further it gets into its future, the more wrecked the galaxy is, the less people have because of emperors and battles against Empires, Jedi and Sith and
First Orders, all of this stuff.
Exactly. Yeah, so by the time we get to like the Mandoverse and then into the sequel trilogy, they were starting to rebound like culture-wise, but then just went right back down into the toilet. So it is still kind of chaotic and in third world type of shit in Star Wars. I mean, really, third world Star Wars kicks in with the Republic era. I mean, that's kind of what starts it. All right. So there you go. There's your Acolyte news, and I believe it starts shooting November 21, so very soon. But I still think on Lucasfilm's schedule, it's not slated till 2024. So we got a good wait here, unfortunately.
Yeah. We still have some time. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited for it. I think that this is the first time that we'll ever this is the first time for sure that we'll ever get like some Darkseid focused materials.
Oh yeah, dude.
Just, more than just a few minutes here and there in movies and stuff like that. And I really do hope that this is something that they start to do more. Like take periods of time that there is no exploration and start to use it, because that is where they're going to find their stride. Like I think like Disney is going to find like their stride and like really kind of hit their groove when they start to create, not just use what's already there. So,
and you're not wrong, because from what I've gathered, again, I'm a moron. I don't like books, words and shit, as we used to say. But it does sound like the High Republic initiative is hitting with the fan base at this point. I think it's in like its second or third phase, and
I think it's in its third phase.
In the world building and the characters that they've created are really resonating with people. So yeah, I mean, do some shows even deeper into the High Republic. show some of the events that the books talked about. I mean, come on, you got to service us morons that don't like to read. But you are correct. The further they stay away from Skywalker saga territory, I think the safer. I don't want to say it's a safe choice, but the safer they are from the goofy trolls. Wing of the Star Wars fandom. Yes, the trolls, the mouth breathers, cellar dwellers, whatever you want to call it. And don't get me wrong, the Acolyte is going to get beat the fuck up even before it even airs, because a woman created it. Its cast is very diverse. Its lead is a black person. So, I mean, the show, sadly, is going to be operating at a deficit with the morons of the world. But that's Star Wars for you. It happened to Boyega. Yeah. It happened again with Obi-Wan Kenobi. And it, for fuck's sake, sure is going to happen with the Acolyte. Mark my words. I'm surprised Cassian didn't get shit on because he's Mexican. Honestly, that's really where we're at with the Star Wars fan base, or part of it, and humans in general these days. All right, man, here we go. Not rounding home yet. We got one more Star Wars live action property to talk about, and it's the one that kind of started things on the small screen, The Mandalorian.
Indeed.
All right. So we got some themes from the cast and crew. Apparently at D23, EW sat down with some of the stars of The Mandalorian, and they just now feel like releasing that content to the rest of us plebes that didn't get to witness it at D23. So within this interview, Nick, they talked to Rick Famuyiwa, who is directing some of season 3. Our girl Katie was interviewed, and Giancarlo. So they all dropped some insights.
And the armorer, she was.
Emily Swallow. That's right. Another client of Big Swinging Dick, Justin Nunez, who watches the Star Wars Time show, I might add. That's what, I need to just buy a bunch of our shitty shirts from Teespring and send them to Justin for these cons.
Let's say just give them out.
Give them to the stars or any homeless people you see. They can use it as a tent, a blanket,
just to get the name,
something like that.
Just so people start to see it.
I'm going to start shipping him cases of this stuff at the hotels he stays at. All right, so here we go. Some themes for Mando Season 3. And I think a lot of us know the general ones, but it's always nice to get the insights. Rick goes really deep into shit, and he's kind of talking about how The Mandalorian kind of started small, wolf and cub, but in season 3 now, because of the events that have preceded it, it's going to expand. The Mando's universe is getting bigger and bigger as the seasons go by. So he said, the exciting part about Mandalorian is that it started with this very simple and sort of elemental relationship when the Mando met this young child and how it's affected him. And I think all the decisions he's made since coming in contact with the child has sort of raised the stakes in terms of the storytelling of the show. And we've just been following that to sort of its natural place as he's experienced meeting people outside of his own creed and understanding what it means to be a Mandalorian. Rick's got way bigger lungs than me. Okay. So as we get to season 3, it's really a sort of culmination of that. We started with our original Mandalorian, but as the teaser said, he's not the only one. And what does that mean? So this season is really about kind of bringing all that together. So yeah, we're bringing in the Mandos. This Mando season 3 could very well explode fans' minds. With this Mandalorian stuff, right? Because it should mostly be a season of Mandalorians figuring their shit out, in addition to Din going on his quest.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. Is it is literally going to be the first time that we've ever had in any Star Wars where we get to see a large faction of Mandalorian. I mean, I guess you could argue
Rebels,
that
but that's
we got
animated,
a little bit of it in Rebels.
That's cheating.
Exactly. So some of it in Rebels, but get to see Mandalorians in mass starting to try to rebuild their culture, start to try to rebuild their civilization in a way that allows them to further themselves into the future. So I do think that it is going to be a pretty big watershed moment for the Mandalorian people as a whole. especially if we get to the end of season 3 and they actually do have like their leadership structure played out. I'll read Katie's.
Yeah.
So this is what Katie says. Katie says, coming into this season, Bo has some clear ideas about who she believes to be a real Mandalorian.
Will the real Mando please stand up?
Please stand up. Yeah. And I think that is really important place for her to start.
It's funny. Are Mandalorians so fucking petty? All right, sorry. Go ahead.
They really are.
You're like, not a real Mandalorian. I'm a real Mandalorian. I mean, it sounds like playground shit, man.
Yeah. Like, for real, like the visions within the Mandalorian culture are so like, and then like they're so like idealistically based.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's like, well, I want to be more warlike and I want to be more like normal, not warlike.
No,
is basically
I want to follow
what the whole
creed.
schism
The creed's the right way. Like I want to see her in the armor have a full on cat fight, like pulling hair, nails, everything. Like, no, my way's better. No, my way's better.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
She continues. She says she was raised one way. She thinks one very clear way, and her knowledge of that is being challenged. One of the things about Bo that I love, and we see a lot of this season, is that she's always growing and she's always evolving. And I think that's a really beautiful lesson. So even in the trailers, we've kind of seen like this very prickly, set in her ways.
Could be trickery.
Bo-Katan.
Could be editing trickery.
Could be editing trickery, could be early in the season, but if this, what Katie said actually comes to play, that she grows and evolves, then we could see a very different Bo-Katan than what we see, in the trailer, or what we have seen so far in the trailer. So, very cool that we could see some, some growth and evolution.
It's funny how she's like, she was raised one way, she thinks one very clear way. Well, she should have been raised by essentially royalty, but then she decided to go rogue with a bunch of nut jobs on a moon and be terrorists to their own people. Like I take every chance I can to remind people that Bo-Katan was a pretty horrible person. And one of the main reasons Mandalore was so easily conquered, because she helped to fracture her people. I mean, she was a part of that divide between her and her sister, and allowed Vizsla and then Maul to overthrow Satine and get full control of Mandalore proper.
Yeah, I mean, she was basically one of the founding members of
100%. She was his lieutenant. She was Vizsla's lieutenant, number 2.
So there you go. I mean, and you can tell that she's had a change from that time.
And you would think that she would be the Kool-Aid drinker. That's why I'm almost more interested to see Bo-Katan and the Armorer talk than anyone else in season 3.
I think the reason that Bo-Katan isn't is because she's done it once. And I think that's one thing too, is like, you even kind of see that now in like society. Like if you've been in a cult before, you can like spot some of these things about
and
like
very
cults.
You're very
susceptible to like suggestion. Like you're very gullible.
But like you're saying, if you've gotten out of a cult and you can recognize it, then you kind of become a huge voice against them and like, no, listen, like that shit's fucking crazy. So
it's like, I've been down this road before.
Right.
It's like, if you're gonna trust anybody on this shit, trust me, because I was living on a compound and fucking milking sheep and all this other shit. Like you have the experience and you like push hard against that kind of stuff because you know what happens.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll take the next one here. I'll give you the long ass Giancarlo one. So.
Yes, the big Giancarlo spiel.
I'm glad we're taking turns here. Next one comes from who I think. I still think she has not feelings for Din, but she has like an intuition that Din Djarin is something special and is going to help push her version of the Mandalorian culture forward. Okay. Yeah. But Emily Swallow, who plays the Armorer, teased that we're probably going to see a lot more of her than we have in season 1 and season 2. So she says, one of the things I really appreciate about the Armorer is that she never shies away from a challenge. She's most of the time enjoyed someone else have to deal with the challenges, but I don't think she shies away from them for herself. And I think she I think we all enjoy watching other people work through challenges because we get to see them learn, and that sort of encourages us to learn so we'll get to see these characters learn. I think she's
like trying not to give up
dude.
stuff.
She's like, fuck, I almost went down a bad path. Oh shit, I almost did it again.
Yeah.
So really, what we can get out of this quote is she is going to have a much larger role, and at one point in time, her and Bo's ideologies are probably going to have to be resolved, and the differences between them. And it sounds like this time she may actually be doing the resolving than sending Heavy or Din to do it for her. That's kind of what I processed here.
Yeah, I mean, at this point too, like her covert is essentially zero people. Yeah. Like her covert is Heavy, Mando, and Din.
And she kicked Din the fuck out. She fucking banned them.
At this point, we have no idea if Din is in this or not anymore. So really, it's just her and Vizsla. And, you know, at some point, you have to come out and you have to make yourself known and at least try to rebuild your covert. Yeah. Or you just say like, hey, gig's up. It's time for us to come together and fucking make something happen. I
mean, outside of having her covert exterminated because they chose to help Din in season 1, there's a part of me that feels like everything that has happened up until now is by design, the Armorer's design. Yeah. Like I think she wanted Din to get the Darksaber. I think she wanted him to break the code, and I think she wanted him because she's the one that told him how to redeem himself. It's almost like she has been working towards this Mandalore event since Exile, and Din is kind of like is her linchpin. And indirectly, she is inching him towards his destiny, which we all are guessing is going to be to reclaim his heritage by visiting the moving waters or whatever is under the mines of Mandalore, and potentially awake the Mythosaur. So I do think the Armorer knows exactly what she's doing with Din up until this point in time.
I do think so as well. And that's like some typical cult leader type of shit too, is to like say, hey, you fucked up, I'm kicking you out, but
exactly,
you can get back in if you do this.
But you're right, but it's all under the guise of you're furthering my end goal. So she wants Din to kind of be this poster boy to I think be like, see, look, it's our way that reclaimed Mandalore through Din Djarin because he followed the creed. You Bo-Katans, you Night Owl fucks. See, we can do it if you follow the creed. And then I think they'll all have to figure out like, all right, fuck it. We got to have compromise because Gideon, the Empire, or the Remnant, these assholes are still knocking on our door. All right. Yeah. Go ahead, dude. Chew on that fucking Esposito quote.
Oh, here's this Esposito thing right here. Oh,
dude, it's like 8 paragraphs long.
He is a very verbose individual.
It's actually, I'm not going to lie. I have read it. It's a great quote. Like he says some very deep shit as he explains kind of what the show's themes mean to him. But my goodness, is he an articulate and a very talky type of person.
He is. So he says, Moff Gideon would really like to be a Mandalorian, and there's a reason for it. That's his psychological real problem. He really wants to be a Mandalorian because the strength and power of the Mandalorians is not necessarily that they are individuals. It's that they're a part of a group that have an ideal and a morality. And that to me is really powerful in our story. This journey this guy takes points to, and he's referring to Pedro, the Mandalorian, in such a beautiful way as the struggle. And we hear it in his voice and we see it in his body. There's something about duty and being in service and action that galvanizes him to have to do it. And within that, like, oh, I'm done now. I'm done. But no, because wait a minute, I still have to learn something about who? About me. And that's phenomenal. And how do you resist that unjaded personality that allows you to see where you came from? How can you resist that? You hate that little child for a minute. You hate that because it's showing you what you were. And then you became this fucking warrior. So all these elements of the story really intrigue me and allow me to be really thankful and grateful to be in this universe.
A fucking man, Giancarlo. Like I feel like he just delivered a sermon on Star Wars there. It's like,
so very,
preach,
very
brother,
interesting
preach.
stuff there. But yeah, I mean, I could see what he means. Like, he was a part of the Imperial superstructure, which was one, both strong and a part of a group. And they had a shared morality.
And he was on Mandalore. Literally. I mean, he does kind of have like this obsession with Mandalore, clearly.
Yeah. And now that the Empire is completely dissolved and he's not a part of a group and he doesn't have a shared morality with anybody else, he looks at the next closest thing to it for him, which was, like you said, the Mandalorians, because that's where he was. Like, he knows that this culture is like a strong
Gideon, almost like
culture.
Let's rewind to early Gideon years with the Empire. He's almost seeming like a serial Karn, right? Like he's like this obsessive freak with control and doing right, and he's stationed on Mandalore. He's probably a weakling. He's seeing the Mandalorians and who they were and what they were and what it took for the Empire to quell them. And over time, he starts to feel like, I could be that. I am that. I got the Darksaber. I mean, all this shit. It's like he's become obsessed with Mandalorians and what they were and what they could return to be. And he's probably not wrong for wanting to take them out before they can reorganize. Because once that happens, that's a dark sign for the remnant. Although I think we can safely say that it probably never happens in full force, because the First Order is allowed to come back and kind of even go beyond what the Empire was able to create in terms of a military machine, what they were allowed to amass with no one fucking with them. So sadly, the Mandalorians either go full pacifist after reuniting, or they truly can never get their fucking beef figured out, and they remain a nomad race.
Yeah, I would just say, like, hey, if I was the Mandalorians, I'd be like, look, we don't get involved with this, galaxy-wide shit anymore. We've already done it a couple of times, and it never works out for us, so you fucking fight your own battles. We have our own shit to deal with. They're
like, yo, it took us centuries to figure out our own internal bullshit between Mandalorians. Yeah. We finally figured it out thanks to our Lord and Savior, Din Djarin. So we out. Okay, I like that. I like that. Like, fuck you guys.
We're not involved anymore.
We done. Yeah, we're done. Good luck.
We only got about 20 minutes left before we hit Matt's.
Yeah, we'll be all right. So it's fan segment time. Let's do it.
Yes,
let's get on it.
This fan segment time. There is one thing that I'm going to share with you real quick, Matt. I don't know if you saw this before, but I'm going to drop it in the Slack. This is basically just a PSA, but it seems like this is a confirmed. This guy is in talks to direct a Star Wars film. And this is Sean Levy.
Oh, yeah, I think someone in the live stream put that up, and I missed it as we moved into a new subject.
Yeah. But Sean Levy, known for his work on as a director and producer on The Adam Project, that's Netflix movie with Ryan Reynolds, Free Guy, Stranger Things.
Okay, I'm down.
Shadow and Bone, Arrival. So,
I like him.
He has essentially confirmed that after he's finished with his work on Deadpool 3 and Stranger Things, that he may be moving into a Star Wars role. So,
but it's no like, oh, he's directing them. They've learned, like, have they learned their lesson in announcing?
I don't know. It says Sean Levy in talks to direct a Star Wars film after Deadpool 3 and Stranger Things.
It's not like from Lucasfilm. So this is just...
No, this is from Deadline, but this is also Sean Levy himself saying, yep, that's true.
Ooh, okay. Well, hopefully it's a TV show, because if it isn't, it's probably dead in the water, right? I mean,
we'll
if
see.
They're talking a movie, Sean, we love you. Adam Project, great. Stranger Things, fantastic. Your Star Wars movie will probably never see the light of day. So just make sure it's a TV show if you're doing anything.
Yeah, it's like, if it is a movie, can it be released on Disney Plus? I would prefer it that way.
Just straight to fucking streamers. How sad would that be for the Star Wars franchise if we just get to straight to streaming platforms? It's like the old Walmart bins. It's been relegated to Walmart bin movie material.
We may be at that point.
All right, dude.
We'll see.
Like you said, you're right. We got to get things moving along. Thank you for that. So it is time for the fan segment. And the first way to get involved in the fan segment every week is to reply or interact with our question of the week. It gets posted on Instagram at Star Wars Time Show, either Monday night, Tuesday morning. So this week, the question is, what was your favorite or least favorite part from Andor Episode 9, Nobody's Listening? Okay, well, I think we had one story reply and
then 4.
All right, I'll hit the story here. This is Kingdom of Weird, who joined us for a little bit in today's show. Thank you. My favorite bit is all the British actors flexing their acting skills from start to end. I really believe in these characters. The grit and believability is a long way from what we got in the Book of Boba Fett. I don't want to bring one show up by knocking another down because I still love Tibaboff. But geez, this show makes Boba's look like it was filmed on Sesame Street. Kino, Dedra, and Mothma really shone the most for me in Episode 9, and I'm excited for the 10th. How many episodes in an Andor series? Never more than 12. MTFBWY.
That's a good callback to the never more than 12. Good stuff there from Kingdom of Weird. Next up, 2797 Studios says, I enjoyed this episode. I think it put the brutality of the Empire forward. Seeing Ulaf just basically die on the work line was the awakening the other prisoners needed. Kino finally seeing the truth. Nobody's getting out. More tension, more world building. Andor is edging its way to a massive payoff, and I'm all
I think Bat was getting a little sexual in that comment. Andor is edging its way to a massive payoff. You could have just said like a massive load, and he's all for it.
He was right there. He was right on the edge. Yes, I mean, good stuff there from Bat. Next up, Mythos Boba says, least favorite part was when it started, and my favorite part was when it finished.
I love Mythos. He's one of our biggest fans, but dude hates Andor.
He says, only joking. I didn't actually watch it, but I'm guessing there was not much happening and a lot of talking, and then you get blue-balled at the end. Honestly, that was kind of what this episode.
Hey man, that's Andor for you. Like, you know, if you're someone that doesn't like the wait, then maybe just tune out until 10, 11, 12 display. But
the whole season.
But I you know, like I said, Mythos loved the guy. I mean, he's a huge repper of the Star Wars Time Show. So I'm not gonna go in on him. But I this comment doesn't surprise me at all, because I've seen some of the stories like Andor, like, you know, he'd rather watch paint dry or stab out your eyes type of stuff.
Good stuff. Mythos Boba always bringing the heat. He says, or next up, it's Star Wars Black Series clip says, seeing Kino's belief in the prison system fade as the episode went on was great. He was so focused on counting down his days and doing his job that he didn't question what was going on around him. Mm-hmm. Can't wait to see what he's capable of now that he's on board with the escape plan.
Well, yeah, I mean, clearly Kino knows a lot that he's never shared with anyone. That's why Cassian earlier was like, hey man, before you get out, can you just tell me what you know? Because Kino being all rough and gruff, you know, just like anyone else, if you're incarcerated, you're probably every day thinking of ways to get out, scanning stuff, counting people, so on and so forth. So I think we're all going to be surprised with how much information Kino actually has. And he very well could be the mastermind in helping to plan the escape.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he has an incredible amount of knowledge of this facility just by being here, like
and pull because he's a shift leader. Yeah. So I mean, he is going to kind of be the let's fucking go, guys. Unit 52D march like that. Cassian is more going to be like the do it type of guy. Like, oh yeah, come on, do it. And then Kino, I think, is truly going to be the lead of this prison break.
Yeah. So, good stuff there from Star Wars Black Series clips. We'll see if Kino makes it out alive. I think he's going to die, but we'll see.
He's done, man. Fuck it.
Then we're going to find out. We're going to be like, all right, in the episode, they're going to be like, okay, everybody needs code names. Kino, your code name is Snoke. And we're like, oh, God.
There's going to be an end credit scene where you see his body being delivered to Exegol. Yeah, Exegol.
Yeah.
And the Empire goes, good. That's the body I needed.
Exactly. All right. Last one up on this is Plus Ultra Sydney. And she says, when Cyril tells Deidre he loves her, and she's like, if I see you again, you'll be arrested. Rolling on the floor, laughing out loud.
Creep.
Yeah, I mean, like that scene was just like, it was so weird.
You know what, dude? I think she liked it. I really think she liked it, though. Like, when he grabs her arm, she could have fucking arrested him right there, but she liked it. She had that look like, you know what, you fucking creep, but you're kind of saying the right thing and you're turning me on a little bit. They're both fucked up people, man. See. They're both fucked up people.
I know, but like, Dedra is somebody, and Cyril's just a sad piece of shit who lives in his mom's basement.
Yeah, I don't know.
So
he talks a lot about order and control and law, and I don't know. Maybe that's what gets her.
He can't even keep order in his own fucking cereal bowl. Like, a lot of people talk like that and have no ability to actually do anything about it. So good stuff there on question and group responses. Thank you everybody for responding to the post. If you want to get involved with that segment, make sure to follow us on Instagram at Star Wars Time Show and check your feed or check our feed around Tuesday morning. The question should be posted, and then you just drop your response right in the comments.
What if season 1 ends kind of like the end of Rogue One, but it's going to be Cyril and Deidre embracing on Ferrix as his folly explodes behind them and allows the good guys to win. You know, it's like
kills them both.
That would be hilarious. Never gonna happen, but that'd be the funniest fucking callback to the end of Rogue One. You see Cyril, Deidre, I fucked up, but I love you, and he's holding her, and then just like,
explodes.
Okay. All right, Tone, see you later, buddy. You worked that shift. He's one of our number one fans as well. We'll see you, Tones 1138. All right, it's time to close things out with the second part of the fan segment here in the Star Wars Time Show. Yes, it's true. We dedicate segments to our fans, and this one is our top 5 Star Wars fan artist features of the week, covering Halloween to 11/7/2022. So the way you get involved here is tag us at Star Wars Time Show, add tag at Star Wars Time Show on Instagram. Use hashtag Star Wars Time Show in your Star Wars content, okay? Doesn't have to be toy photography, doesn't have to be real ass paint. It has to be Star Wars. So tag us. I'll look at them. I'll feature them throughout the week, and then Nick will pick the weekly champs every Monday. And that is where we are at now. So who do we got here? Who's number 1?
First up is at 6.
Oh, this is
spelled out. So SIX, the number 1 SIX_photos on Instagram. And this is a just incredible shot here of Darth Revan holding a Sith holocron, also holding his ignited lightsaber with this beautifully dirty armor, the iconic mask. I mean, the whole thing looks like he just came out of, dragged himself out of hell and is now back to
the weathering is killer. Dude, this is a custom made 1/6 scale Darth Revan.
That is insane.
Right?
That is absolutely insane.
Yeah, I forget who made it. It's not 616. I think it's 16J.
It is 16J.
Okay, yeah, 16J made this fucking thing, and I need to find 16J and get a custom 1/6 scale Darth Revan, because as this image from 616 showcases, he makes for a great fucking Barbie-sized Star Wars collectible. And I don't know what body 16J used, but I kind of like how Revan's a little fucking stacked. You know what I mean? Like This version of Revan fucking worked out like big time with Arnold Schwarzenegger type of shit. Maybe took some HGH, some fucking test. But yeah, it's a boss shot and just a marvelous custom Star Wars figure. I mean, come on. I don't even want to ask how much this thing probably cost to commission. If you think, Nick, a standard retail bot 1/6 scale, no customizations, can get as high as $300 to $400, I bet this thing was double, easily.
Oh, yeah, easily. I think
because there's double, all the parts I'm guessing had to been crafted,
custom
made.
Yeah,
it's not like you could outside the body itself. Where the fuck you getting a Darth Revan costume at 1/6 scale? I don't know. So great stuff there. Good stuff at 16J. For the custom, and at 616_photos for this amazing shot. It's a twofer. We got another twofer. It looks like on your second choice here.
The next one here is it says cool shot from MM_studios, except studios is spelled with a 0, and Empire of Customs 66. And what we have here is an awesome action shot of some stormtroopers in the middle of a shootout. And I believe these are custom stormtroopers as well. Is that correct?
Yeah, they're weathered. You know, you don't
custom weathering.
You can't. Yeah, you have to get yourself some shoe polish or other gritty shit there and wipe it on with a rag, wipe it off. But yeah, it's
it says Empire of Customs for the sparkler effects. I believe.
Yeah, no, it was a collab shot. I got yelled at because I only posted MM Studios because that's the account that tagged us. But you know, on Instagram now you can. It's like a partner,
like shared.
It's weird. It's like if you set it up a certain way, you can have a singular post will show up on two different accounts' feeds as if it was their post. So yeah, either way, this is a collab shot. But you're right. It's just it's the little stuff. I like the low light. I think the sparkler work is fantastic. You get some really great bokeh, but it doesn't dominate the shot. And it's the dark tone, the grittiness to it. I love the Empire, at least the way they look. So it's not stormtrooper shots are always going to be high on my list. This one just kind of stood out this week.
It does. Like you said, the weathering's great. The bokeh makes it pop. The posing is good too. Use of foreground and background imagery with the two other stormtroopers in the background also firing at their target. So strong overall composition and execution here from MM_studios and Empire of Customs 66.
Get it.
Good stuff there. Next up, we were talking about press pause photography earlier because he's in the chat. And guess what? He pops up on the top 5 for probably one of the best Dooku shots I've ever seen.
All I gotta say, like, just this shot's the tits, man.
Absolutely beautiful. So what we see here is Count Dooku, and off in the background you see Grievous with his lightsabers ignited, also flanked by 2 B2 battle droids up front, getting ready to take on 2 Jedi that are in the foreground of the scene. Unfortunately, and Matt, I don't know if you can tell from here if one of them is Anakin.
It's both. It's the guys. It's the generals.
It's
Kenobi and
Anakin
Skywalker
and Obi-Wan. Yep. So there we go.
And that's
really,
Nick, here's the mastery of this shot. This shot's mixed scale. Okay, so everything in the foreground is 1/6. Everything in the background is 1/12. And that just adds so many layers in a sense of depth to this shot. I mean, everything in the background, there are a lot of dio parts for 1/12 scale, but press pauses kind of figure out a way to loop things in here. So yeah, I mean, this is coming off of Tales of the Jedi. This is like a perfect shot to take in to honor Dooku, who now, because of 3 little cartoons, is one of the most interesting Star Wars characters to me, period. Like the guy, really had a value system and a belief system. He wasn't just I'm the old bad guy man. Bah! Which
and like he had a justifiable.
I fucked up. This is all one.
Side.
This is all 112. This is all 112. I did.
Oh, it's all 112.
I know he mixes. He mixes scale in old shots that I think we featured on this show. This one's all 112. So that's a hell of a Dooku. He definitely got an aftermarket sculpt, I would imagine, because That doesn't look like the Black Series sculpt or even the figure arts. I could be wrong. Either way, who cares?
First custom head,
okay, custom
says,
head.
by Casting Cage.
There we go.
So it looks like the head of the Dooku is a custom head by @Casting Cage.
Well, I fucked up the breakdown, but I can't fuck up how good this shot is. So just make sure to check it out.
Yes, give them a follow @press_pause_photography and add another underscore there at the end.
Just for fucking shits and giggles.
Yeah, just do it. Just put an extra one in there. Connor's a fucking killer when it comes to toy photography on the Star Wars side of things and on other sides of things like DC and Marvel.
Oh, yeah.
So make sure to go give him a follow. Next up in the top 5 is a super crisp shot here from @Uncanny Figures. And I mean, when it comes to like portrait style imagery and shots, I don't know how much better you can get than this right here.
You can't.
Of our Neo Boba Fett, freshly painted, I may say, freshly painted Boba Fett stepping off of the Slave One in the background. And it's just this kind of mid-chest up shot holding his carbine rifle and just all of his Boba Fett glory on display.
Yeah. I mean, you hit it. Uncanny Figures just excels at making Star Wars toys and the resulting photos feel like stills from the actual production. And it's a mix of just knowing how to light stuff, but Uncanny is also like a digital art master that, you know, can create backgrounds digitally that look like the actual sets on the shows. The color grading here is perfect to really match the lighting used to light Boba with the darker tones of the background. And I mean, this is honestly probably one of Uncanny's more just straight on simple portraits. I mean, he's folded these characters into the exact movie scenes, and I'm not talking like the digirama technique. Here's a screen, here's my figure. It's like, no, I'll just go ahead and craft a digital background to perfectly match the lighting I'm using. And it's just the account, it has obscenely good looking, smooth 1/6 scale photography.
That's right. It's truly beautiful what he's able to pull off. You can go on his account, see some Star Wars stuff, see some DC stuff. I mean, Superman and Batman have been all over his feed recently, but you got Star Wars in there as well. So make sure to go follow Uncanny Figures. This guy is absolutely fantastic at toy photography and capturing a true visage of these characters. So
true that.
Good stuff there. And finally, in the top 5, I've recently gotten back into skateboarding a little bit.
Nick's getting a one wheel. Let's do it.
No, I'm not.
I'm coming. Hey, you get a one wheel. I'm coming to Austin. I need a riding partner. I want to float with someone else.
So Taylor and I both bought skateboards, like real, like actual
2 one. He's getting 2 one wheels. Come on.
2 one wheel.
One wheel. Nick needs a one wheel.
Oh man. But what we see here is Darth Vader ripping it up on a skateboard, about to grind down a handrail, down a bunch of stairs. And what I will say about this shot is it is so like the fact that he got Vader in this
Chava
pose
Fernando,
that
actually is.
Oh yes, @Chava.Fernando on Instagram. He's got Vader in this perfect pose where his feet are on the board. He's got like this kind of jump with his arms out like you would when you're ollieing on a skateboard. Perfect position by the handrail. Good little bit of sunlight and lens flare off to the left side of the picture. I just thought it was such a well executed, fun, out of Star Wars, but Star Wars character shot that it had to make the top 5.
It's just anytime you see a character as serious as Darth Vader having a good time, it stands out. You know, there's a few accounts that specialize in making Vader shots where Vader is doing things that Vader would never consider doing. And that's what Chava Fernando has achieved here. It's funny to see this so serious Sith Lord who, you know, never smiled or ever felt positive in his life until he died.
About anything.
Literally until he died. enjoying some sun and shredding the rails on a skateboard. It's fantastic. It's great subject matter here. And you're right, the posing and getting this little plastic dickhead, and I'm sure there was maybe some sticky tack used to keep the little skateboard on there, and even the cape's kind of blowing around, feeling the wind as he jumps up to hit the rail. It's a fun shot. And we always like Star Wars humor over here, so a good choice by young Nick.
Oh, yes, indeed. So at Chava, CHAVA.Fernando on Instagram. Make sure to go give them a follow because there's a ton of fun stuff over on the feed. So that is the end of the top 5.
That's right.
And that is the end of the show. You got 1 minute left before 5 o'clock.
Everyone go to Star Wars Time. Taxes and rules apply. Do I sound like the Micro Machine Man? Although, how many of you even remember that guy? All right, people, Nick's not wrong. I got to go, but we know what to do at the end of the Star Wars Time show, and that is head on over to starwarstime.net, write it down, put it in your phone, whatever you got to do, because that's the best place to send new and prospective fans. All right, just like, hey, I sat down for a few hours. I might have wasted my life, but these guys don't say a ton of stupid shit. You may want to go check them out. StarWarsTime.net. Once they get there, they can find all the podcast platforms we're on to sub to. They can sub to the YouTube channel. Just remember, if you are new here and you liked it, the best way you can repay us for our time and our content that we have created, we are creators. Ratings, reviews, comments, likes, do the dance. Okay? Keep us going. Let's go. Let's get those numbers back up. We need more friends. I like seeing people in here that we've never seen before show up. It's interesting. We need those different point of views. We love you diehards, but you're essentially recurring characters in the show. We need some new ones. Keeps the discussion lively. All right, my friends, I got to hit it. Real life is calling, but you know what to do. There's always time for Star Wars Time. Don't forget it. Keep them coming. Preach it out there, because if you do, and they listen to it, they too will know that if they listen to the Star Wars Time show at least a few times a week, maybe a couple times a month, the Force will be with them. Always.